At Paramount Kia in Asheville, we want to buy your car. Give us a call, make an appointment, or simply stop by. It's fast, simple, and easy, and we'll make sure that you leave with the most money possible. Asheville Valley Mall, ParamountKiaAsheville.com.
Hammering headaches? Ow. Aching muscles? Put the squeeze on your tough pain with Goody's Cool Orange. The same fast-acting, powerful Goody's powder in a great-tasting Cool Orange flavor. Beat tough pain to a pulp with Goody's Cool Orange. Also, blast your pain away with Goody's Mixed Fruit Blast. 2 flavors, tough on pain, tasty on your tongue. We made Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. All available at Dollar General.
Hey folks, DG here. Y'all know I've always loved the slogan, Smiles Change Lives, which I first heard years ago from Dr. Rebecca Merrill of Asheville Smiles. I hope you will live that slogan here in 2022. Whether it's just time for a routine cleaning, you want to learn more about Invisalign, a great alternative to braces, you need a diagnosis and treatment plan, or if you don't have dental insurance, you just want to learn more about her special membership plans. 828-251-2426 or AshevilleSmiles.com.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. It's time to call QC Kinetic, non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you your surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced clean of Zero Res. Take advantage of their New Year sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119, and when you mention ESPN Asheville, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Schedule online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
ESPN's Jeff Saturday.
This guy is an incredible football coach. And when you think about offensive football and what he was able to do and the offenses he's been able to construct and the ability and the success he's had, it's remarkable. I mean, he has the relationship between he and Drew Brees and how special that run was for those guys winning a Super Bowl and the things that he was capable of doing.
Jeff Saturday on This Just In. Payton has 3 years left on his contract with New Orleans, which does maintain his rights should he return to coaching within that time frame. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Bears are hiring Chiefs executive Ryan Poles as their new general manager. Ravens close to an extension with coach John Harbaugh, according to ESPN's Jamison Hensley. Baseball Hall of Fame tonight will announce its latest class heading to Cooperstown. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are in their final year of eligibility.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Thanks. That's thanks. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNABL.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed Studio here in ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene alongside with you. It is the Sportsocracy, and we can be heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get in on the chat during the program today. Man, I mean, middle of the week, no playoff games, happening right now. There's nothing going on.
We're planning other things, and then Sean Payton just goes.
That's right. Sean Payton retiring from coaching. Now, it's not permanent. He's just stepping aside for a little while. He's been talking apparently for months, according to Jay Glazer, with the wife about just taking a break. It's too much stress on him. Drew Brees leaving, the cap hell that his team finds itself in. All of that, he just needs a break, and he's going to cash in majorly on a TV contract as we prognosticated just the other day.
Yeah, as I told you 2 weeks ago, Amazon had 3 targets: the 2 Seans and Pete Carroll.
Yep.
Well, Pete Carroll told them to fly a kite in a thunderstorm. Sean McVay, his team is still playing, and he is markedly younger. Sean Payton went, well, that paycheck without the stress, that might not be terrible.
Right.
I might be okay with that.
Right. We got Sean Payton retiring. Jeremy has brilliant ideas every once in a while.
Once a year.
And
usually on my birthday.
And when he posed this to me earlier today, I went, yeah, we definitely have to talk about this. That every era of the NFL seems to have the same role players. Every era of the NFL has the winner. They all have the lovable loser. They all have, a wild card thrown in there, much like a great TV show. They have the guy that's, around. He's doing stuff, but he's never the main focus. He's the guy that's never there. And they also have the foil, who plays who lifts up the protagonist or the antagonist, and you're talking about TV, but the NFL has that as well.
He is a glorified pain in the tuchus to our heroin.
Yeah, to somebody. Every era has the same guy. So who's going to be the one for the next era? We've broken this down, going 80s through the 2020s. So,
because the NFL's recasting this right now.
Yes.
And it's pretty easy to me to figure out who's going where. We got a slew of young quarterbacks that are going to be the next Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Aikman, Young, Montana, Phil Simms, however you want to do this.
Right.
We just keep doing this in a big cycle, and nobody seems to notice it.
Right. So we'll give you the cast of the past eras as well as predict who's going to fill those roles in the 2020s this year. Plus, how do you build a champion? What's the best way in the NFL right now to build a championship roster?
Well, I've noticed a trend. There is a trend in the 4 teams that are still left, be it the LA Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
They have one great big thing in common, and it's the reason that teams like, I don't know, my team, your team as soon as Tommy goes away, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants. It's the reason you're never here.
Right.
Because there's something you do that winning teams don't do.
Right. So what are the best ways to build a champion? Jeremy will have all your picks for the night as well coming up in Greene on Greene at the end of this hour. He's got 5 on it.
Last night was hot under the collar. It could have gone really, really badly.
So it was real close. But
it was
real
okay. Close, but it went. We were 3-1 in Greene on Greene. We broke even in 5 on it. We lost the vigorish.
Right.
Every once in a while you do that. 2 $25 bets, a $50 bet. If you win the 50, lose the 2 25s. There you go. Cost of doing business.
Yep. So he's got 5 on it coming up in the next hour as well. But the number one story that broke earlier this afternoon, the New Orleans Saints, they're going to be without a head coach, at least for a little bit. You still think Dennis Allen's going to get this job?
I do.
But Sean Payton retiring after 15 years as the head coach. Well, I mean, he didn't coach for one of those years. Remember, he got banned by the NFL
was still
for
the
a
coach
year
of
there. The games don't count against his official record. But 16 years with the New Orleans Saints, I mean, he did a masterful job of taking a perennial loser and turning them into a perennial contender. It's one of the greatest coaching jobs I've ever seen.
He has done a great job at times of turning dog water into a dog show quality dog.
Mm-hmm.
This year, notwithstanding. But my reaction to this, when this broke, obviously we started getting messaged about it. My reaction was the same as it was when I said this. Of course he is. Of course. Why in the world would you want to sign up for this? Oh, but what about the money? 1 year from now, Sean Payton will be the coach that every team with a vacancy calls, including the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Which has always been thought was his dream job. He came up as an assistant with the Cowboys. And I'll be honest with you, I would love it. Whether he takes the Amazon deal, I know the money's there.
Mm-hmm.
I know the offer is there.
Mm-hmm.
If he decides to sit out a year, Sean Payton will have infinitely more money than he could ever spend in 5 lifetimes because he is an elite, high-level coach in this league. He's a great offensive mind, and he has adjusted to being dealt some rather poor hands.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, he finally looked at this roster and went, why am I doing this? We're $75 million over the cap. We're completely leveraged at quarterback. You got Taysom Hill that's on I don't even know what to call that contract. Well, we pay him this way if he's quarterback, pay him this way if he's tight end. Well, this is what happens when at the end of the day you don't draft very well outside of the first few rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Be really honest with yourself. And this kind of goes to why I do firmly believe Dennis Allen's going to get this job.
Okay.
What's attractive about this? What's attractive about New Orleans right now?
The defense.
Which is old and expensive. Offensively, what do you have that really excites you? A really expensive running back?
You got a really expensive, malcontented wide receiver.
And then you just have a slew of spare parts.
You got a great offensive line. I mean, that's the best.
Do you, though? Because Teron Armstead's a free agent.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to re-sign him.
Absolutely no shot that you're going to find the money to re-sign.
Right.
I mean, you got a couple pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of allure of job, people hear the Saints. The reason this job was attractive was Sean Payton. That's it. He has made this what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now without him, this is a bad team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look in the division. Are they better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert?
No.
The answer's no. They're not. They're not. They're not better than a young Panthers team that, yes, I know all of you hate Matt Rule. I see the messages. Heard you. You don't love Ben McAdoo. You don't love Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you still got a lot of young talent. I think you have a markedly better quarterback. I would rather have Sam Darnold than Taysom Hill, and to me, it's not even kind of close.
I'd agree with that.
And then you get the Falcons who are getting ready to reset the decks. The only reason that this isn't one of the 5 worst jobs in the NFL is because you're in a division that is terrible.
Mm-hmm. A division that is going to be easily grabbable in the next couple of years.
But somebody's going to separate themselves, and I got news for you. It's not going to be you.
No.
And so Sean Payton looks at this, and he's not a young guy, but he's not in his 70s. He's 58 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He'll take a year, might take 2 years, and he'll have one last great hurrah.
I am curious what the buyout's going to be on that contract.
Well, there is no buyout.
Yeah,
They're just not going to pay him.
Now, he's got 3 years left on that contract, and when he decides to come back,
and that's
they're owed money.
No, they're owed compensation.
Mm-hmm.
That would lead to a trade. If he doesn't go anywhere else, sorry.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. Any team in the NFL outside of the LA Rams and a handful of others would pay it happily.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not saying nobody. I'm not saying that's going to be a deterrent for him getting another job. I'm just curious
if
what that compensation
If the Dallas Cowboys could hire
become.
him right now for a first-round pick, they would do it, and they wouldn't think twice about it.
I'd agree with that.
The Chicago Bears allegedly considered trading for him, and he shut that down. Like, I'll save you the time. I'm not even kind of interested.
Yeah, no. Why would I want to do that?
But I keep saying, like, the New York Post headline on this is Sean Payton stepping away from Saints in NFL stunner. Is it a stunner? Really? Are you really stunned? I mean, because I can definitively say I'm not, because I've said it into this microphone within the last 14 days.
Right, but before the last 14 days,
I wouldn't have been
beginning
stunned
of the
a year
season.
ago. I wouldn't have been stunned a year ago. I wouldn't have been stunned 3 years ago. Because at some point, you get tired of being the only thing this organization has. Drew was great. Let's be real honest about Drew. Towards the end, he wasn't Drew anymore. He was a hyper-accurate quarterback that could not push you deep. Then Drew goes away, and now you have turnover-prone Jameis Winston and whatever it is you want to call Taysom Hill.
Right.
And he's tired. I'm tired of doing this. And I don't blame him in the least.
I don't either, and I think he'll be a fantastic broadcaster.
He'll be fantastic at anything he does. He has a tremendous NFL mind. Do you know what his record is in New Orleans?
No, what is it?
152-89. That's a .631 winning percentage. That's like Mike Tomlin level good with 4 losing, and I put those in bunny ear air quotes, seasons, because they were all 7-9. That's the worst record he ever had. With a team at the end of the day that's not been overly talented.
Right.
I feel like you're going to hear this narrative of, oh, he only won 1 Super Bowl. He only went to 1. Yeah. And I would argue that he had average to below average talent for the vast majority of the time he was there.
I mean, because think about the weapons that Drew Brees had around him while he was there. I mean, he had Mark Ingram and Marquez Colston and just a bunch of also
It was a bunch of dudes.
Right. Other than Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, did he ever have really great weapons to work with?
It's a lot of Jimmy Graham, Brandon Cooks.
Graham was up there at the time.
Well, here's the thing. You know what's really weird about receivers that played for Sean Payton? Almost all of them went to other places and were dog water.
Jimmy Graham, chief among them. Yeah, Jimmy Graham, chief among them.
I mean, Brandon Cooks, he had his best years in New Orleans. I mean, you could argue as the only target in Houston, he was statistically better. But if you watch the film, he wasn't better.
Right.
He wasn't open more consistently. Sean Payton is a great coach. Great. And there are not many of those in this league.
No.
You count them on one hand. And when he decides he wants to come back, he can do anything he wants to do. And the compensation won't matter. None of it will matter. All that will matter is where does he see an opportunity to have that last 5 to 8 year run before he rides off into the sunset.
And he'll find a place that's got a franchise quarterback. They will have all of the pieces splayed before him.
Yeah, and that place is the Dallas Cowboys. I poo-pooed that.
Yeah.
Until the news broke, and I went, well, the Giants' job's open right now, so it's not going to be that. And that's a disaster anyway. It's Dallas. That's where this makes all of the sense. We talked earlier about earlier last week. Has Dak peaked? Yeah, unless he has a coach like that. If he has a coach like that, there's no limit to what he can do because he's immensely talented. But that team's been in disarray forever.
Right.
And to me, that's exactly what this sets up like.
I can't wait till the arguments start. The arguments of when the news comes out that the Dallas Cowboys are poking the bear on Sean Payton, I can already hear Dallas Cowboys fans talking about, oh, it's just another Mike McCarthy. It's just another one-time Super Bowl winning coach.
Anybody that said that to me,
holy smokes.
Anybody that said that to me, I would immediately look at them and go, tell me that you're a moron without telling me you're a moron. If you compare those two coaches, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
It's going to make your brain hurt, but I'm telling you, it's coming.
Oh, there's no doubt. This is one of those things. And I'll be honest with you, I'll go one step further. The conversation's already been had.
With Jerry?
Promise you this conversation's already been had. There's no doubt in my mind of that.
What, that Sean has already talked to Dallas?
Oh, I would wager his agent has already, hey, how much of that Mike McCarthy stuff is actually true? Did you say that to say it, or is it actually like a true thing?
I think we all know it's 100% true.
And for Sean Payton, he looks at it and goes, okay, well, I got two options. I can go take a year off and wait for you to fire Mike McCarthy, because you will, especially now that a coach like this is on the market that has an emotional connection to you in the first place.
Right.
It's one thing. I have long said that Dallas Cowboy job is not as attractive as everybody makes it. But this is somebody that's comfortable, knows the Joneses, knows the place, spent a lot of time there, and it just makes too much sense. And now you say, and the real loser here, New Orleans, sorry, it's not you. It's not. You did this to yourself. You have kicked this salary cap can down the road to the point that it didn't matter who the coach was. This was eventually going to get you.
Right.
Now you're going to have Dennis Allen. Good luck with that. I've read that book, and it did not end particularly well. But for Sean Payton, this is a perfect setup. I can go hang out on the beach. I can go call football games. I can do anything I want to do. The real loser here is Mike McCarthy, because now this is almost like coaching to me has always been like relationships. It is one thing. It's one thing when you're not necessarily happy. It's another when all of a sudden somebody gets hired at work that gets you. Sean Payton is the girl that gets Jerry Jones.
Okay.
And so now every Cowboy fan knows that.
Right.
And so now you're looking around going, well, you know, I mean, if we just ended this, well, that's where we're going to go. So now and I'll be honest with you, if I was Mike McCarthy, I'd probably be going to Jerry Jones right now like, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do this. I'm not doing this for a year because I know exactly how it's going to go. Dan Quinn's going to go get the Denver job, hire what might be the most ridiculous staff I've ever seen. Kellen Moore may get a job. He may not. But now not only do I have Kellen in the building that I know there is a section of the fan base that they want, there's this free agent that all you got to do is give up a first-round pick. It's not going to be more than that.
Right.
All right, let's say it's 2. I give up 2 ones in the 20s for 8 years of top 5 coach in the league. This maximizes my investment in Dak Prescott. This maximizes my investment in CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and all the other pieces. Why in the world would I not do that? To me, that's the biggest story here. The Saints are irrelevant.
Right.
And I would argue they were going to be irrelevant whether Sean Payton was the coach or not. My question is, what do you do next?
Well, they were never going to be irrelevant with Sean Payton as their head coach. I mean, if they were going to,
Could they win more than 8 games?
I feel like this year would have been that.
I would say this year, honestly, if I had a coach of the year vote, it would have been hard for me not to put Sean Payton third. I would have voted for him over Cliff Kingsbury. I can tell you that much definitively.
After 16 seasons, Sean Payton retiring as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And yeah, I think it makes the seat under Mike McCarthy hotter than it's ever been. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Boy, some cold nighttime low temps into the midweek forecast. Gets even colder for the weekend ahead. Talking some teens here in the valley Friday night, Saturday night. Kind of dry and cold for us. Don't have a lot of winter weather as far as precip in the forecast later this week. But boy, the winter cold is definitely here. 25 tonight, sunshine Wednesday 41, and teens and 20s Wednesday night and Thursday night. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new hot and crispy fries. Right now at Wendy's, see why everyone is raving about their brand new fries. Natural cut, skin on with a hint of sea salt, and guaranteed to be hot and crispy or they'll replace them. You know, the way fries should be. Try Wendy's guaranteed hot and crispy fries today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, McCracken, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
The UNC Asheville Bulldogs are back home at Kimmel Arena Thursday night for an important matchup against Gardner-Webb. And the Bulldogs would love your support in this nationally televised contest. To get tickets, go to uncabulldogs.com, uncabulldogs.com, or call 258-7900, 828-258-7900. If you can't make it out to the game, tune in to 570 WWNC. Airtime is 6:30 for the Ingles Countdown to Tip-Off show with a tip at 7 o'clock. And go Bulldogs!
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. It sure feels good to step into a warm car after letting it heat up for a few minutes. However, this practice wastes gas, increases emissions, and pollutes the air. Limit idling your car to no more than 3 minutes to save money at the gas station and improve air quality. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Yes, Miss Tubbs. No problem. I'll call someone about the plumbing.
One of Beatrice's properties needs a new superintendent. Someone with handyman superpowers and a concierge alter ego.
Does anyone know any good electricians near Parkville?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingles, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingles, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
What are you people? On dope?
It's ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 back in the Ingles studio. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene. Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And how do you build a winner in the NFL these days? What's the best way to do that? Jeremy, you've got a theory on this. I mean, we're down to the Final Four now. We got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. You got the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. What does that tell you?
They all have one thing in common. There's not a lot of free agents on any of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you go down the Rams roster, it is dumbfounding how many of these players were drafted by this team. Many of them incredibly late. San Francisco's the same way. And it's one thing to trade for players. All right, I want you to think about what I'm getting ready to say. The 49ers left tackle is Trent Williams, universally thought of to be one of the 3 best left tackles in the NFL.
Yep.
And that's being as negative as I can be.
Yep.
Nobody has him lower than that. Do you remember what they gave up for him?
No.
It was a 5. Yeah, they had to pay him. Nobody cares. Because when you go into free agency, and what got me thinking about this morning was the ESPN.com main page, the top 50 free agents and where they could go. And I went down the entire list and went, there are 3 names on that list that I would even kind of consider.
You just
even
rather
kind of consider.
You just rather draft a guy.
I would Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Now him, if you can get Devontae Adams, that's worth talking about. Chris Godwin, I'll pass.
Really?
I'll pass. You can fall on that sword.
The injury history and all that, just too much for you.
2 ACLs, really expensive. The best years are with Tom. I mean, how many different red flags do you want me to give you on one guy? And he's going to get paid.
He's also great with Jameis, though.
You're using great in a weird way.
He was like the number 2 wide receiver in football.
And you're getting into stats.
Right.
It says a lot that you got Mike Evans right beside you. What are you going to look like in Philadelphia with Jalen Reagor on the other side of you, where nobody's scared of anything else? And this is what I perpetually watch bad teams do. The Cleveland Browns are one of the few teams that I've ever seen do this well, and they only did it for a year. And the fact that you drafted poorly just potted in the punch bowl of that.
Right.
If you look at the teams that are left, and yes, Cincinnati has some mid-tier guys, in large part, the reason they're here, drafted Joe Burrow, drafted Jamar Chase. Thankfully, they didn't listen to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was a rather large detractor of that Jamar Chase selection.
Well, I mean, they still need to fill the spot that we wanted them to fill. Nobody ever thought. Did you? Did you ever think Jamar Chase was going to be that good? We had just seen Justin Jefferson come into the league and set it on fire. And it went Jamar Chase off of an off year? I don't know that he's going to be able to do that. I mean, I love the kid, but I didn't think he was going to be capable of that.
I didn't think he was going to be this good.
Right.
But even you look at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati, they did. It's almost all on defense. Almost all of it is on defense. You look at the offense. Do you know how many of the starters on this team were not drafted by this team?
I'm going to go 3.
It's 2. And both of them were not starters coming into this year. It's Quentin Spain and Isaiah Prince, who's the fill-in right tackle. And actually, Adeniji winds up starting most of the time anyway, or playing most of the time. You look at Cincinnati and go, okay, your offense is why you're here. Weird. You drafted almost all of them. And even a Jonah Williams, who I don't love, he's better than going and getting some left tackle off the trash heap and hoping that maybe we can find his best years.
Right.
Riley Reif would have played into this when he was still healthy.
Right.
But every team has one of those. San Francisco, of their 22 starters, 21 of them were either drafted by the team or directly traded for. That is mind-boggling when you think about it. But then you get these teams that are constantly in this rotation. Because you know what doesn't tend to hit the free agency market? Free agents that don't have a great big yeah but. Which is why I know definitively Devontae Adams will come nowhere near it.
You think Green Bay is going to be able to sew him up?
Green Bay will franchise him the first opportunity they get. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, Jordan Love throwing to him, me throwing to him.
Right.
It does not matter. You do not let those guys walk out the door for a reason, or for nothing.
Yeah, agreed.
Jesse Bates with the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, guess what? If they don't come to terms, which I strongly believe that they will, he'll get franchised. So all of the great players in free agency get wrapped up to the team that they were with. So what are you left with? You're left with a lot of guys like, let me just think with my team how many we've done this with. Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, Gerard Davis, Tremaine Johnson, just the slew of guys that you're trying to, you're the best that's out there. Well, you're out there for a reason. I pulled the Pro Football Reference, their metric on best drafting teams in the league. Weird. You know who number 1 is?
Who's that?
The Los Angeles Rams. You know who number 5 is? The San Francisco 49ers. If you take away all but the last 3 years, the Bengals are in the top 10. Weird. You were completely irrelevant forever. And then what changed? You got a quarterback, And all of a sudden, you started drafting well.
Mhm.
And here you are in the AFC Championship.
And Kansas City Chiefs among those as well. They've got to be up there in the top 5 of the best drafting teams.
Not as high as you would think.
Really?
Because they keep blowing first-rounders, which really, it hammers you in that metric.
Yeah, the old Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick.
You get a lot of credit for hitting fifth-rounders. You also get demolished for going Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All right, best way to build a champion. We'll continue the discussion, but first, let's get just a bit outside.
The Sports Tag.
Just a bit outside.
All right, here's the 411, folks.
It's the day of the year that they do it again to you. The sport of baseball is going to do it again to you today. Just strap in and be prepared, folks. Today is Hall of Fame Day. This is when they tally up all the votes for the Hall of Fame. The announcement will be coming at 6 o'clock tonight to determine whether anyone's going to get into the Hall of Fame this year or not. But
how long does it take them to translate the telegraph?
They have they have computer programs that can read teletype.
It's weird to say typewriter, but okay. I've never heard anybody say typewriter that way.
Now, look, you don't give baseball enough credit. If they're using robots now, they know how to use computers.
They don't know how to use robots. They're going to find a way to boo-boo that up.
They very well may.
He was so determined to get this story in because he looked at me this morning and went, the Baseball Hall of Fame is the third biggest story in sports.
Which it is.
Which it's not. I went to Google Trends and proved it.
Stop that. Just because you don't like baseball.
So you're going to argue with Google.
Yep,
You're not just going to argue with
Google.
me.
Because there is no shot that there are more people right now talking about the Auburn basketball team than there are talking about who's going to get into the Hall of Fame.
All right, I kind of lied to you on that one. I used that
exactly.
That one was trending more 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of Google Trends is that he doesn't know how to read it. So I just go, this will tell me anything I want it to.
The big question is, will anybody get in tonight, or will we have a nobody getting in on the ballot?
Well, David Ortiz will get in.
David Ortiz, that's the one. I got my Red Sox gear on today, sporting the 2004 championship hat in honor of David Ortiz, because I think he will get in. They have trackers that can tell us who's going to get in or whether it's likely somebody's going to get in or not. To this point, the known ballots that are out there, 84.5% of them have David Ortiz on the ballot. If he loses 7% of that, 8% of that, he's still going to hit the mark. He will still hit the mark for the 75% threshold that you have to get in. The unfortunate part is, it's not going to happen for anybody else. There's nobody even going to be close behind him. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, everybody waiting for them to get in the Hall of Fame. You're going to have to continue to wait because right now they're both under the threshold in the known ballots, and the private ballots are the stodgy guys who I can't reveal who I'm gonna put on my ballot this year, and I'm putting no one.
There's only one time a year that you can get me to talk about baseball.
Yeah.
And that's today. So I can say two things. One, your Hall of Fame is completely invalid when your hits leader and home runs leader are not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Two, when you actually have the audacity to say, no one was good enough this year to get into our Hall of Fame, then why do I care?
Right.
I can't for the life of me figure out how baseball's never figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
You tell people on a pseudo-regular basis, there was nobody relevant enough to make our Hall of Fame. Then why would I have watched it? Why would I care?
Last year, the closest to being elected to the Hall of Fame was Curt Schilling at 71.1%. He didn't make it, and remember, he got all upset and said, take me off the ballot, I don't want to be there. Well, some voters have obliged him in that. He is on 22 fewer known ballots than he was last year, so he's probably got no shot at getting in either. So David Ortiz is your pretty much only shot to get into the Hall of Fame. The announcement coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. Now they do have like older players who are voted in by the Veterans Committee, but I mean Jim Catt is the only one of note.
Where do they air that announcement on PBS? Sorry, you know what? I'm trying to be good. I really am.
MLB Network.
Speaking of well, okay, first of all, I got to say this. Brian Billick has gotten a new job.
Okay.
Brian Billick has been out of coaching for 15 years. It's always dumbfounded me. He interviewed for a lot of jobs. He has taken a job as an offensive analyst for Herm Edwards at Arizona State. So good for him.
Really?
I'm dumbfounded that that's the job he had to take, but, that's not my just a bit outside story. Here's my here's the story. How many people do you think watched the San Francisco 49ers defeat the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night? Average. How many average people do you think watched that game?
Oh, 30 million.
You're too low. It was 37 million, which is the most watched Saturday show since the Olympics. Now
that's pretty good.
In Lillehammer. That was 28 years ago.
Wow.
This
in
was the
1994?
highest rated primetime Saturday show on television anywhere since 1994.
Wow.
For point of reference, the Oscars had 10.4 million viewers. The increase from last year's game in this same slot to this game was more than that. Now I'll go one step further. How many do you think watched what I believe to be the game of the year between the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills?
It's got to be higher than the other one, so I'm going to go 40.
The average was 42.7.
Okay.
It peaked at 51.7. For those of you that are not good with numbers, that means 1 out of every 7 living humans in this country were watching that game at one time.
Right.
1 in 7.
That's a lot.
Like 40% of them don't have televisions, and another 15% of them are children and do not count. That is the most unbelievable statistic I've ever seen. I read it and thought it had to be made up. You had to make that up. And then I verified it, and no. No, you didn't.
The NFL is the best thing going today on television.
It's a very good time to be in our business. You want to know why we don't talk about baseball? Here's another number for you. If you add up every game of the World Series, including the multiples of people that watched every game, you still don't get to 51.7. It's 6 games in 18 hours of content. That is dumbfounding to me.
We're throwing out a lot of numbers, and I'm going to throw out another number at you here. 27.4. You know what 27.4 is? That's the amount of weight that I have lost so far on the PhD weight loss program. I am loving this thing because it's making me feel like I can actually achieve my goals. When Dr. Ashley Lucas told me she wanted me to lose 120 pounds, I went, you're kidding me, right? No. Honestly. And now, 2 months into the program, I'm almost 30 pounds down. I'm feeling like this can happen for me. Jeremy, I know you haven't been in the same boat. You've been physically fit before. I have never been.
I have been, and this is helping me get back to that. I have a weight loss goal to get in the 210 to 220 range. To be honest with you, it's been so long since I've been in that range, I don't really know where to go. So I am trusting their opinions. They believe it's 210, so that's what I'm striving for. I am down 20 pounds and will continue to do this. And one of my favorite parts about it is the convenience. That's how I got into this shape, because fast food is always more convenient. Now I have healthy choices that are actually good for my body thanks to PhD weight loss.
PhD weight loss makes me feel confident about reaching my goals, and I can't wait to see what the next step is. If you want to have an amazing journey to weight loss, go to myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com. How do you build a champion in the NFL? You've already said, Jeremy, drafting is the way to go. You got to get the superstar quarterback, and you got to draft.
But you don't. But that's the myth.
You don't have to have a superstar quarterback?
Is Jimmy Garoppolo a superstar?
No, you haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
Doesn't matter. You're here. There's only 4 teams that get here. And I would argue 2 of them do not have superstar quarterbacks. Josh Allen, superstar, not here. Tom Brady, superstar, not here. And I mean, there's more. Lamar Jackson didn't even make the playoffs.
Right.
You have to have a balance of talent. I would argue head coach matters more than anything does. Now, does Zach Taylor kind of piddle on that? Maybe. Or maybe I undersold Zach Taylor. I undersold his team.
I think you may have undersold Zach Taylor.
Because Jimmy Garoppolo is not a superstar to any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Is he a good quarterback? Yeah, he is. And there have been a slew of instances where teams that did not have great quarterbacks wound up at this point or further.
Yes.
Philadelphia Eagles with Nick Foles. Nick Foles, the third-string quarterback for the Chicago Bears, behind Justin Fields and Andrew Dalton.
The Baltimore Ravens have not only done it with Joe Falco, but they also did it with Trent Dilfer.
Which is kind of comical to me.
Well, I mean, defense wins championships.
Matthew Stafford is not an elite quarterback.
No.
He's close to it. He's close to it. But what matters is how balanced your team is. Because where people miss the boat, free agent, and I'll be honest with you, we're going to do a ton of content on free agency. You know why? Because people care. But at the end of the day, when you start paying out these big contracts, it completely skews the balance of your team. Good example. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
You had a slew of, whether they were free agents or guys that had gotten into the second deal, and what did that do? What did that do to you? You wound up playing Josh Wells at right tackle. How'd that go for you?
Not good.
How'd that work out for you? I could argue that's part of the reason that you're sitting at home and they're not.
Absolutely.
Because the Rams had a guy in Joseph Noteboom
who played
was
wonderfully.
Really good. He made himself a lot of doubloons.
Yes, he did.
During that game.
Yes, he did.
Because he will probably be somebody's left tackle moving forward. Might be the Rams. But that's where you completely hemorrhage yourself when you start giving out these free agent deals. You also do it when you give out money to the wrong quarterback, because it is not a happenstance that the two elite quarterbacks that we have left, you know what they have in common?
What's that?
They're both on rookie deals. Now, Pat Mahomes rolls next year. Joe Burrow, they have 3 years of him after this on a rookie deal.
Yep.
When you really hit on the quarterback, it's amazing what you can do. Elite quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes, do I think there'll be a step back? Yes. Do I think they're going to, because they've gone to 4 straight AFC championship games, when all of a sudden he's making $40+ million, you know what you don't tend to have? Guys like Jerick McKinnon or Mecole Hardman or Byron Pringle or these ancillary pieces that catch that $4 to $5 million deal.
No,
you can't afford them anymore.
No, you have to keep drafting them.
Yep.
Like they've done already.
And they've had some, they've hit on some guys. Kansas City hit on the quarterback to such a point that it doesn't matter. And I could argue Cincinnati's in the same boat. The difference, they're actually hitting on the value draft pick guys.
Right.
Which is why I firmly believe.
But do you think the front offices are on board with this? Do you think that this is becoming common knowledge in the league of, you don't have to do this? I mean, I saw in a report earlier today that there's going to be interest on both sides with Juju Smith-Schuster going to Kansas City.
Out. Seacrest out. I'm not paying $10 million to an ancillary receiver.
I wouldn't either.
Do you know how many receivers there are that are highly graded in this draft?
Oh, yeah.
I could replace a Juju Smith-Schuster with probably 24 guys that are in this draft. And by the way, I don't buy the Kansas City thing at all.
I mean,
they said the same thing last year, and he wound up taking a one-year deal to come back to Pittsburgh. Baltimore had legitimate interest.
Right. Okay. I was just curious because you are going to have to get more frugal as this new contract for Patrick Mahomes comes in.
And I mean, I got news for you. Jimmy Garoppolo is not cheap in San Francisco, and Matthew Stafford's not cheap in L.A. Here's what they did. They hit on those later round guys, the Elijah Mitchells, the Troy Reeders, Jordan Fuller, on and on and on and on. Everybody worries about first-round picks. I genuinely think the L.A. Rams might be the masterclass of you're worried about the wrong thing. You know why we do 7-round mock drafts for 3 months before the draft? One, because I am a loser, and I love doing these things, and I've got one that's coming out over the course of the next few days. But because those guys matter, and there are a slew of them in this draft class. In the happy hour today, I'll be putting out my top 13 linebackers in this class. These are off-ball linebackers, not pass rushers. Just important for the delineation there. And I could argue this is the deepest draft I've ever seen. There is something coming that we will get into after the break and after Greene on Greene that is coming in this draft class that I have personally never seen before. And it could completely throw the landscape of the NFL on its head, and there are a handful of teams that are differently able to take advantage of it than virtually anybody else. And those could be your next dynasties.
Your Greene on Greene picks are coming up next here on ESPN Asheville.
Here in Beer City, we take homegrown seriously. And since 2012, Wicked Weed Brewing has been pushing the boundaries of the industry. They've not only created staples like the Freak of Nature Double IPA, the Lieutenant Dank, and Pernicious, but they also opened the first sour beer tap room on the East Coast. Wicked Weed has also supported our local community to the tune of $1.6 million with the Beers That Build program. Visit one of their 4 locations, schedule a brewery tour, or place an order for pickup or delivery. WickedWeedBrewing.com.
Yes, Miss Tubbs. No problem. I'll call someone about the plumbing.
One of Beatrice's properties needs a new superintendent.
Custodial team is not
Someone with handyman superpowers and a concierge alter ego.
Does anyone know any good electricians near Parkville?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Audible makes it easy to do you. Take time out to lose yourself in a sci-fi epic, best-selling thriller, or celebrity memoir. Or dive into an exclusive you can't hear anywhere else. Whatever you're into, you can find the best of it on Audible with originals, audiobooks, and podcasts. There's wellness, true crime, motivation, and powerful new voices to discover. With so many included titles to enjoy, there's always something great to listen to with Audible. Sign up for your free 30-day trial today at audible.com.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. It's time to call QC Kinetic, non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you your surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug. Don't you just love the smell of old books?
Shh, this is a library.
Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check nonfiction.
He really does devour literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. When others treat your fries as an afterthought, all you're left with are cold, soggy fries. That's why Wendy's new fries are ones you won't forget, guaranteed to be hot and crispy, or we'll replace them. We're talking natural cut, skin-on fries, perfectly seasoned with a hint of sea salt. In fact, they're even preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's. These are fries so hot and crispy, they beg a new question.
What would you like with your fries?
Try them today, only at Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, taste preference based on a national taste test by an independent research company.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Coffee's for closers only.
Get them the money.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
I love nights where I go 3-1, even when I only cover by a total of 3.5 points. Tonight, I got 4 picks for you in the NBA. The first one, our Charlotte Hornets are a 3.5-point dog at Toronto. Toronto is very healthy right now, but they're not very good. There's something weird about the way that team flows, and then they go home, and they're not as good. There's no fans in Toronto. So that makes this a really weird ambiance. And I'm just going to be honest with you, the Hornets are really good offensively, and the Raptors are not that good defensively. I'm catching 3 in the hook. Give me the Hornets plus the 3.5. My 2022 NBA champion Denver Nuggets are a 6.5-point favorite tonight at the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to be honest with you. They could play this game on the moon. They could play it in Denver, Detroit, Portland, in the ocean, on a boat, with a goat. I don't care. I'm taking the Denver Nuggets because they have no ability to stop the next MVP, the current MVP, Nikola Jokic. And finally, the Washington Wizards are a 4.5-point favorite tonight against the LA Clippers. The over-under is 215.5. One thing that's always fun with bad teams, and both of these teams are bad, they score a lot of points. I got burned by this last night. I'm not getting burned by it again. I love over the 215.5. These are 2 less than talented teams, and I'm only laying 4.5 with the Wizards against a bad Clippers team. Give me the Wizards minus 4.5.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And don't forget to take those wagers over to betus.com. BetUS.com. Use the promo code SPORTSOCRACY and get a 125% deposit bonus when you use that promo code. Again, it's SPORTSOCRACY at betus.com. So what's the groundbreaking here? What have you never seen that you're going to see in this draft?
The coronavirus year did something to this draft class. A lot of people are going to look at this draft and go, oh, the top end's not there. Aiden Hutchinson's a guy that's going to go the top 3 that not everybody's sold on. I don't disagree with you. I just finished my grades for the top 300 players I'll have in this class.
Okay.
I've never had so many starter grades, and it's not even close. I'm 60 above what I've ever graded before. So what does that mean? That means that the teams that draft really well in the mid-tier of these drafts are about to load their rosters up. Now, the question is, who does that? One of them is abundantly obvious because I talk about them all the time, and they're still playing. It's the LA Rams.
Mm-hmm.
The LA Rams have Matthew Stafford on what is – it's not a value deal, but it's a value when you see the salary cap's going to go up, and he's not making $50 million. More respectable number. So you can build these things out, build up the line, bring guys back like Joseph Note Boom that filled in admirably for Andrew Whitworth. But then there were a couple that kind of surprised me, and one of them is who I'm going to put my flag in for next year, depending on who they hire as their next head coach.
Okay.
It's the Minnesota Vikings. That's one of the best drafting teams in the NFL that nobody talks about.
True.
That team is flush with young talent. They had a great big impediment. They had Feivel's dad as their head coach.
Right.
And whilst he does have a great ability to date, apparently, he's not a very good coach. That's an incredibly alluring job, and I have a funny feeling they're going to wait out Eric Bieniemy, and that's who their next coach is going to be. And I could see that team being rather formidable for the foreseeable future. I can't figure out what they're going to do with Kirk Cousins. Until I know who the GM is and all of the pieces there, I don't know exactly how that's going to go.
Right.
But there's not many teams that have drafted better than them. The Baltimore Ravens are right there with them. That's one that you just expect.
Well, the latest news out of Minnesota is that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is the front runner to be the new GM. He is currently with the Cleveland Browns as their vice president of football operations.
They were in on Ryan Pohl, too, but he's the new GM of the Chicago Bears.
Yes, he is.
Which, by the way, it's a very good hire. I am stunned. Because I was told that he was offered both jobs and he took the Bears by choice. That's an
interesting.
It's an aggressive strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him.
Maybe he's a big believer in Justin Fields. Who knows?
Hey, you'd have to be.
Plus, he has the connection with the Chicago Bears because that's who he first played for when he went into the NFL. So, Ryan Poles finalizing a deal with the Chicago Bears to be their new general manager. Have we had any rumblings on head coaches or really close negotiations? I saw where Leftwich is coming back for a second interview tomorrow.
He's the next coach of the Jaguars.
For the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's the next coach of the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
You losing in the playoffs guaranteed that. The one reason that I wasn't totally willing to say there's no doubt that's who it's going to be, if you'd wound up in the Super Bowl, I don't know that they would have waited 3 weeks. And that's kind of where you got to look at how many finalists are still playing.
Right.
I don't think Denver's waiting till the end of the week. It's going to be Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
I know they put out that Kevin O'Connell is one of the finalists, and so is Nathaniel Hackett. Dan Quinn's getting that job, and he's going to put together a ridiculously good staff. I still believe Miami's going to Brian Daboll. The Brian Flores, the heat is heating up in New York now that they've hired a GM. They're still talking to Brian Daboll, and the fact that the GM came from Buffalo, you have to give some credence to that.
Right.
I just can't for the life of me figure out why Brian Daboll would take the Giants job as opposed to the Dolphins. One roster is set up tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
The other needs an exorcism, a young priest, an old priest, and some holy water.
Yeah, I was going to say a bloodletting needs to be happening here. Every NFL era has their winners, their lovable losers, their wild cards, the foil, and just a great cast. We're recasting it now in the NFL with the exits of Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. They may not happen this year, but they're going to happen very, very soon. What does the next cast of the next era look like? Recasting the quarterbacks in the NFL. Up next here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Boy, some cold nighttime low temps into the midweek forecast. Gets even colder for the weekend ahead. Talking some teens here in the valley Friday night, Saturday night. Kind of dry and cold for us. Don't have a lot of winter weather as far as precip in the forecast later this week. But boy, the winter cold is definitely here. 25 tonight. Sunshine Wednesday, 41, and teens and 20s Wednesday night and Thursday night. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new hot and crispy fries. Right now at Wendy's, see why everyone is raving about their brand new fries. Natural cut, skin on with a hint of sea salt, and guaranteed to be hot and crispy or they'll replace them. You know, the way fries should be. Try Wendy's guaranteed hot and crispy fries today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
The UNC Asheville Bulldogs are back home at Kimmel Arena Thursday night for an important matchup against Gardner-Webb. And the Bulldogs would love your support in this nationally televised contest. To get tickets, go to uncabulldogs.com, uncabulldogs.com, or call 258-7900, 828-258-7900. If you can't make it out to the game, tune in to 570 WWNC. Airtime is 6:30 for the Ingles Countdown to Tip-Off show with a tip at 7 o'clock. And go Bulldogs!
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. The latest NFL head coaching vacancy is in New Orleans. Sean Payton stepping away as Saints coach after 16 years. Not clear what he plans to do next at this point. Sources tell ESPN TV networks have shown considerable interest in hiring him. Payton's got 3 years left on his Saints contract. They maintain his rights if he returns to coaching in that time frame. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Bears finalizing a deal to hire Chiefs Assistant Director of Player Personnel Ryan Poles as their new GM. No surprise, a team would hire someone from an organization like Kansas City, notes ESPN's Dan Graziano.
That comes from a place where they've done a lot of winning. He's a young guy. He's extremely well regarded around the league, but teams are looking for people that come from these organizations that have built it the right way and have built strong contenders. Buffalo's assistant GM gets hired last week. One of Kansas City's top front office guys gets hired this week. I would think a coaching hire is not far behind.
NBA Lakers big man Anthony Davis on the verge of returning to the lineup from a sprained MCL, listed as probable tonight against the Nets. Baseball Hall of Fame tonight will announce its latest class of inductees.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do.
Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. HOPE. That's HOPE. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNABL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Wicked Weed Brewing.
It is ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We are in the Ingles studio. And, of course, the second hour of the program always brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. Go to wickedweedbrewing.com today. Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different. Yes, there is a way for you to get in touch with the program immediately. It's through the chat on the YouTube stream. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, hit the subscribe button. That gets you into the chat. However, I feel like we do need to throw out there, personal attacks in the chat are not allowed.
We're all friends here, okay? This is friendly sports talk over beverages. If somebody says that there's the things that they're not allowed to say, we have to put them on a timeout.
Indeed.
And I was today years old when I found out that was called a timeout. And it made me laugh literally out loud in the break.
You literally put somebody in timeout?
Sometimes you have to.
Well,
sometimes you just got to be like, okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's take a minute, reassess, see where we're at in life.
I have 2 children. Jeremy has 3 children. We're used to having to put people in timeout for being a little too overzealous. Just let's keep it. You can say pretty much. I mean, whatever you want to against whatever topic we're talking about. But we are all friends in the Sportsocracy, and we're glad you're along the ride with us. Just know that we are here to keep the peace.
It will be what John Cena can't be, a good peacemaker.
Oh, he hasn't even seen it yet. He doesn't even know how bad that show is yet.
Fake hair John Cena, I am Seacrest out.
By the way, it is awful. One of the worst TV shows I have ever seen. But, like every great TV show, you have to have a good cast. And that's the thing that keeps the NFL as one of the best TV programs out there. I mean, the numbers don't lie. 51.7 million viewers tapped into the Sunday night game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. You have to have a great cast. And we have one every era of the NFL. And like in every good TV show, you have to have your protagonist. You have to have the winner, the A1 star. You got the lovable loser of the show, like George Costanza. He's the lovable loser.
George is getting upset. Sorry, I have to do that anytime George Costanza's name gets mentioned on the show.
You have the foil who supports the main character. So I guess if we're sticking with Seinfeld, that would be Elaine. And then you have the guy who's never there, which I think that would have to be Newman in the Seinfeld scenario. He's there time to time. He gives you good lines once in a while, but he's usually never there.
First of all, Newman was greatly underrated on Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the wild card, and we all know Kramer was the wild card.
Absolutely.
So we went through, and we have quarterbacks for each era of the NFL.
I've had this theory forever.
Yes.
Literally, I have had this theory forever. Of the NFL is the same exact show on 10-year repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And over the weekend, I started thinking, and it was Josh Allen that got me thinking about this. We've already seen this once.
Mm-hmm.
We've already seen this once. We've already seen this once from this team. And I really hate to say this, but Josh Allen is going to be the Jim Kelly of this generation.
You don't think he's ever going to get there?
He can't be any better than he's been. And I always felt the same way about Jim Kelly, too. You can't be any better than you were.
Right.
And it was just never enough. And I don't know if it's a curse on that franchise. I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, you talk about incredible, unbelievable losses. The Buffalo Bills are right there up there. I mean, I had forgotten until somebody mentioned it online earlier today that Minnesota or the Music City Miracle game, I had completely forgotten that was Buffalo on the other side of that. The kickoff with the Tennessee Titans pulling the amazing play to come back, I had forgotten that. I know Buffalo Bills fans, you'll never forget that. But I mean, 13 seconds, that's a bad beat.
Yeah, Kansas City scoring drive took one less second than Dak Prescott's sneak did.
Right. But let's go through the cast. So we started back in the 80s. So you got the 80s, 90s, 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. We will be projecting who's going to fill all these roles. In the 1980s, you had Joe Montana. Joe Montana was the winner. He was the guy who went to four Super Bowls, won all of the Super Bowls, lost 4 times in the playoffs in the 1980s, won 13 games. He's obviously the winner. Then you had your lovable loser, who was John Elway. Went to 3 Super Bowls during the 80s, lost all of them. 5 playoff appearances, ended up 6-4 in the playoffs, 3-time Pro Bowler. Fine. The foil was hard for me to pick. But then when I thought about it, it really shouldn't have been that hard.
Nope.
And I was barely around for the 1980s. I was born in 1982. Phil Simms. I mean, Phil Simms against Joe Montana, the New York Giants, the San Francisco 49ers, they had some great playoff battles in the 1980s. They faced 4 times. They ended up being 2-2 in the playoffs. He did win 1 Super Bowl. He did win the one. So I think he has to be the foil of the 1980s. The guy who was never there and probably should have been.
It's Dan Fouts.
Dan Fouts
was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And the point of this exercise is there's been one of these in every generation.
Yes. The wild card for the 1980s was Dan Marino. He shows up second year in the league, and they go to a Super Bowl, but they just couldn't get it done.
You knew he was the most talented passer in the league, but he just didn't have the things around him.
Mm-hmm.
So on any given day, he could beat you almost by himself.
He was the best quarterback in the league from 1984 to 1986. He was the number 1 quarterback in the league. And just his teams could not get it done. 1990s, Troy Aikman. I didn't want to put Troy Aikman on that list, but I had to. I mean, he won 3 Super Bowls in the 1990s. Very underrated quarterback. For me, anyway. Because it wasn't Aikman. He wasn't Joe Montana. He wasn't the sole reason that they won.
But he was the evil empire.
Of course he was.
That's what the winner is. We make it sound like Tom Brady was the only one that was ever, man, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
He's not. It was Montana, and then it was Troy,
mm-hmm.
and then it was Brady, really.
Mm-hmm. But Aikman, 3-time Super Bowl champion in the 1990s, 8 playoff appearances and only 4 losses to his quarterback record because one of them doesn't count because he wasn't the starter in those games. The loser, of course, Jim Kelly, who goes to 4 straight Super Bowls and loses all of them. Brett Favre, I think he's got to be the foil of the 1990s. He was in 2 Super Bowls. He won 1 of them. He was also a 3-time MVP throughout all of that. And then think about, how many times, he lost to the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs 3 years in a row. From 1993 to 1995, they were kicked out in the playoffs by the Dallas Cowboys. The guy who was never there was Dan Marino, unfortunately.
Oh, poor
It's
Dan.
7 playoff appearances and a 5-7 record when they got there.
And yet somehow he still haunted my nightmares as a Jets fan.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it's like to be a Jets fan.
The wild card for the 1990s was Steve Young. 8 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl championship, 8-7 record in the playoffs, and he was a 7-time Pro Bowler in the 1990s. 2000s, guess who? The winner, Tom Brady.
Yeah, and that doesn't change in the 2010s either.
Nope. No, he has to be the winner for 2 decades in the 2000s and the 2010s. But 3 Super Bowl wins, 4 Super Bowl appearances. Only won 1 MVP, though, in the 2000s. He was really slacking on that one. The lovable loser? Sorry, Eagles fans. It's Donovan McNabb. You can't go to 4 straight, or I guess it was 3 straight NFC championship games and lose, then finally get to the Super Bowl, and then, of course, lost to Tom Brady in that. But that's where it is for Donovan McNabb. He is the lovable loser of the 2000s. The foil had to be Peyton Manning. Those epic battles that he had with Tom Brady. He was a 4-time MVP in the 2000s. And he made 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1-1, 9-8 playoff record. The never there guy, it was Brett Favre. Just could never do it. Got in the playoffs 6 times, went 4-6.
Does that sound familiar to Aaron Rodgers? Because somehow the Packers have the same guy just on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're just going to keep doing this until the end of time.
And then the wild card for the 2000s has to be Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think he really fits the category there, but he does the best because they went to the playoffs 4 times and won 2 Super Bowls. That's a pretty good clip with Ben Roethlisberger in the 2000s. The 2010s, the Brady is the winner again. 3 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 10 playoff appearances, and a 16-7 record. Just, it's unbelievable. The lovable loser, I think it has to be Ben Roethlisberger. A guy who, made 1 Super Bowl appearance in the 2010s, 6 playoff appearances, never did a whole lot with them, but he had some elite years in the 2010s. 2014, 2017, 2018, those were all fantastic years for him. They just never could get it done. The foil, this is where I put Aaron Rodgers in because he pushed Brady.
See, and to me, Aaron Rodgers almost falls into that lovable loser category. You won 1, but man, you should have won more than that.
Right. But also, he was the 2-time MVP and Super Bowl MVP, numerous Pro Bowls, 7 of them during the 2010s. The guy who was never there was Drew Brees. I get they kicked off the 2010s with the Super Bowl, but that was technically the 2009 season.
And then what?
And then they went to the playoffs 6 times, won 4 games. He never did win an MVP.
Nope.
And he made the Pro Bowl a bunch. Yay, you won the popularity contest a whole bunch. Set some records while you were getting there. But when it came to doing it in the end, it did not happen.
We had a heated Troy Aikman, Drew Brees conversation earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just went, Drew Brees is better than Troy Aikman.
Indeed.
No, I don't think he was.
Oh, I believe he was. The wild card for the 2010s, it's Russell Wilson. 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, went to the playoffs 7 times, won 9 games. That's a pretty decent clip. But you just never knew year in and year out whether or not he was going to be there. And then that brings us to the 2020s. The 2020s that are barely underway, we're not, this is the projection for the next decade. Who's going to fill these roles? We already have our winner.
It's Pat Mahomes, and it's not even close.
Of course. Patrick Mahomes has won a Super Bowl already.
And weird,
He's
if
been
you're
to
really
2.
honest with yourself and you think about how you're rooting for this playoffs, if you're not a Chiefs fan, are you not secretly hoping that the Bengals win this? Literally outside of Kansas City Chiefs fans themselves, the 31 other fan bases in this league are all privately going, man, I hope Cincinnati beats them. Man, I hope Cincinnati beats them because they're the evil empire.
Right.
We always have one of these. It was the Cowboys, then it was the Patriots, then there was just a small Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Brady switches teams.
Right.
And now we are with Kansas City. There's always that team that we all hate. And what do they have in common? Their quarterback is that winner, and we don't pull for their team.
Yep. So Patrick Mahomes is the winner for the 2020s. Jeremy, you're predicting that the loser for the 2020s, the lovable loser, the guy who just never going to get it done, it's going to be a replay for Buffalo Bills fans of the 1990s with Jim Kelly. That Josh Allen is never going to get there.
And look, I don't want it to be that way. I don't. I really don't want it to be that way. I love Josh Allen as much as any Jets fan can love a Buffalo Bills quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you just look at it and go, how many times are you going to go Charlie Brown where the football gets pulled out right underneath your feet as you try to kick it before you go, oh, no, it's happening again. It's happening again. And if we're being really honest, it's weird how the same teams fall into these same.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Kelly was the lovable loser in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid Josh Allen's going to be the one in the 2020s.
But do you not believe that this Buffalo Bills franchise right now is in much better shape than they were in the 90s? I mean, I get they had Jim Kelly, but I feel like they have I mean, I don't know. I mean, Stephon Diggs to me is better than Andre Reed.
You just said that like that's a no doubt thing.
No,
Andre
it's not
Reed's
I'm not saying it's a no doubt thing. But I'm saying I feel like in today's game. I feel like
this team is built exactly the same way.
Exactly the same?
I feel like all of it is
except they don't have a Thurman Thomas.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
They don't have a Thurman Thomas or a Bruce Smith. I like Matt Milano, but...
and the tiebreaker for this, for me, was the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at Green Bay has had the same quarterback twice with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Yep.
I feel like the Los Angeles Chargers have had the same quarterback twice with Dan Fouts and Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could easily see Justin Herbert being the guy that puts up unbelievable video game numbers. And 10 years from now, you're looking at it going, you have 3 playoff wins in 10 years. I could see, and this is a projection. We're 2 years into the into the decade.
Right.
Could Justin Herbert come out and all of a sudden, sure.
Yeah. So far, though,
history kind of tells me that he's not going to.
One thing I think we do know, at least at this early stage of the 2020s decade, that the AFC is going to rule as far as quarterbacks go.
If you're an NFC fan right now, you really better hope that you start drafting quarterbacks at a markedly better clip than you have recently.
Right. Josh Allen, you're predicting he's going to be the lovable loser. I thought maybe he would be more in the foil category because I think this team eventually it has to change. We have seen this in sports. It changes for everybody unless your name is the Detroit Lions or the New York Jets. It changes for all of them. The Milwaukee Bucks, they just won a title.
After 50 years.
We're going to see the Philadelphia 76ers, I believe, win a title at some point.
With what? Joel Embiid and a bunch of dudes?
Mm-hmm.
This is the part of this that nobody wants to talk about. Franchises tend to stay who they are. You ever notice the same six franchises tend to draft the bust quarterback? Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that every quarterback that goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars all of a sudden forgets how to throw an out route 10 yards?
Right.
It's not because they're not talented. The people that do what I do, it's not like these guys walk out there and are just sailing seam routes. They all have arm talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you develop them. And the part of this that I never hear anybody say is that it works on the high side too.
Oh, of the teams that are good, stay good, find a way to be good again.
Yeah, it's weird. We went through this whole process, and we had 3 teams that had guys in the exact same category 2 decades later.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't on purpose. We didn't shoehorn it into that. I didn't even say anything to him as he was doing this. He would say it to me, and I'd go, yep.
Yep.
And it's just a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Can you break that? Sure. The Cincinnati Bengals are breaking it right now.
Of course they are.
That's a team that had not been to a championship game since 1988.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and what changed that? A prodigious talent playing quarterback. There are things that can fix that. I mean, unless you're the Jets.
Yeah.
In which case, the deal that Joe Namath made with the devil has to be ripped up and thrown into...
Who fills out the rest of the 2020s cast for you? Hit us up in the comment section. We got Patrick Mahomes as the projected winner of the decade. Josh Allen, the lovable loser. The foil, the never there guy. And the wild card, we'll give them to you up next right here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Boy, some cold nighttime low temps into the midweek forecast. Gets even colder for the weekend ahead. Talking some teens here in the Valley Friday night, Saturday night. Kind of dry and cold for us. Don't have a lot of winter weather as far as precip in the forecast later this week. But boy, the winter cold is definitely here. 25 tonight. Sunshine Wednesday, 41. And teens and 20s Wednesday night and Thursday night. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Interstate's moving incident-free on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic volume is busy and steady. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road, delays. Patton Avenue incident-free. New Leicester Highway, no problems. Cane Creek Road moving from Concord Road to Mills Gap Road. Expect delays in both directions. Sweeten Creek Road southbound after the Blue Ridge Parkway to Mills Gap Road is slow. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 17 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new hot and crispy fries. Right now at Wendy's, see why everyone is raving about their brand new fries. Natural cut, skin on with a hint of sea salt, and guaranteed to be hot and crispy or they'll replace them. You know, the way fries should be. Try Wendy's guaranteed hot and crispy fries today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
The UNC Asheville Bulldogs are back home at Kimmel Arena Thursday night for an important matchup against Gardner Webb. And the Bulldogs would love your support in this nationally televised contest. To get tickets, go to uncabulldogs.com, uncabulldogs.com, or call 258-7900, 828-258-7900. If you can't make it out to the game, tune in to 570 WWNC. Airtime is 6:30 for the Ingles Countdown to Tip-Off show with a tip at 7 o'clock. And go Bulldogs!
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and three-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body could speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmitt's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Start now with a free consultation at QC Kinetics. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. Call today, 333-9517.
Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted each year. Help police by not escalating. Address any complaints after the encounter. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. Learn more at nationalpolice.org.
When others treat your fries as an afterthought, all you're left with are cold, soggy fries. That's why Wendy's new fries are ones you won't forget, guaranteed to be hot and crispy, or we'll replace them. We're talking natural cut, skin-on fries, perfectly seasoned with a hint of sea salt. In fact, they're even preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's. These are fries so hot and crispy, they beg a new question.
What would you like with your fries?
Try them today, only at Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, taste preference based on a national taste test by an independent research company.
Here in Beer City, we take homegrown seriously. And since 2012, Wicked Weed Brewing has been pushing the boundaries of the industry. They've not only created staples like the Freak of Nature Double IPA, Lieutenant Dank, and Pernicious, but they also opened the first sour beer tap room on the East Coast. Wicked Weed has also supported our local community to the tune of $1.6 million with the Beers That Build program. Visit one of their 4 locations, schedule a brewery tour, or place an order for pickup or delivery. WickedWeedBrewing.com.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, ain't that? Right you are.
Look, there was discussion in the comments that Eli Manning should have been the wild card for one of the decades.
Well, it would have been the 2010s.
Well, here's the thing.
I can't disagree with that, except for the fact that he was good on the back end of the 2000s and good on the front end of the 2010s.
His 2 Super Bowls straddled the 2 decades. And can we just be honest? Eli Manning was never an elite quarterback.
No.
Are you disagreeing or are you agreeing?
Oh, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, all right.
When Eli Manning came out, I said if his name was Eli Smith, he would have been a 3rd rounder.
Right.
It's one of the first. I was still in high school.
Eli
was
was never
little one-liners I ever had for the draft.
He was never an elite quarterback. Yes, those teams made runs, but why did they make those runs? It was the defense.
The defense was otherworldly.
Right. You had that, what did they call them?
NASCAR.
The NASCAR defense. That's right.
They had 4 defensive ends.
Mm-hmm.
I am stunned that nobody else has done that. At least not that successfully.
I thought the Buffalo Bills were going to try to do that for a little bit.
And don't be shocked if they still try to.
Right.
Leslie Frazier is headed to get his own head coaching job.
Right.
With a team that I will immediately declare in the pit of misery.
But we're recasting the NFL here. Aaron Rodgers may be done. Tom Brady may be done. We know Big Ben's going to be done. So who's going to start filling these roles? The winner of the 2020s already is Patrick Mahomes. He's got a pretty good success rate, so I feel pretty confident in that. We know he's not going
He's been
anywhere.
a starter for 4 years. He's in his 4th AFC Championship game.
Exactly.
So I think it would be hard to have him anywhere else right now.
Jeremy is still predicting long pain and anguish for the Buffalo Bills as casting Josh Allen.
I don't want it to happen. I really don't. I just don't know how you're going to. How are you going to get better?
Yeah.
Because the Allen deal is going to kick in 1 year later. The one chance you have at this is next year.
Mm-hmm.
You still have him on that option year next year. And you could load it up, but then that salary swells.
Right.
And can he be any better than he's already been?
Yeah. Josh Allen as the lovable loser. We still are going to project the foil, the never there guy, and the wild card guy for the 2020s. Somebody asked in the comments.
In the AFC.
Yeah, somebody asked in the comments, what about Russell Wilson? He was the wild card of the 2010s, in case you missed it.
And he's too old to be in. I mean, you got 5 quarterbacks in this that are all 26 or younger.
Right. And you just can't. You just can't predict that he's going to be a major factor in the 2020s when he's already, 31 years old? Or he's getting ready to be
33.
Oh, he's 33 years old. Excuse me, I forgot he spent 6 years in college.
And based on the fact that all
true.
5 of our quarterbacks on this list are 26 or younger, and Roger Goodell is looking at the ratings going, we just blew every NFL record out of the water. He has to be sitting there going,
good. Let the hate flow through you.
Indeed. Foil, never there, and wild card, recasting the NFL for the 2020s. We'll have it for you in just a second, but first, let's get weird.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
A man
you
from...
You do have to turn your microphone on.
I apologize.
That is very important.
I apologize. I had to clear my throat, and I forgot to turn it back on. A man from Limestone County, Alabama, made an appearance in court on Monday. His name is Mickey Polk, and Mickey Polk faces some interesting charges, a whole bunch of drug charges. And it's not going to shock you that he faces a whole bunch of drug charges when I tell you what else he has been charged with. He has been charged with possession of a wild animal. I was not aware that you can't do that. I don't know if it's that way in every state, but in Alabama, it is illegal to take a wild animal and try to domesticate it. You can be charged with trying to take like a wild cat and turn it into your pet. I don't know who figures that out or who tracks that, but if they ever do, you can be charged. This guy...
This is the first time in the history of this show that I'm going to plead the fifth on this because no good can come from what I am going to say to what you just said.
Did you once have a wild animal that you adopted as a pet?
No, I'm not saying... You missed the joke.
I did.
Yeah. I'm saying I am physically not allowed to comment on this because no good can come out of my mouth right here.
Well, guess what wild animal he had? He not only, he didn't really try to domesticate this animal. He used this animal for protection. It was a squirrel. It was a squirrel. Mickey Polk had an attack squirrel. And you know how he trained the squirrel? He fed it meth. He fed a squirrel meth to keep the squirrel aggressive so that the squirrel would be his attack squirrel. So if he gets into a drug deal, he can just go, "Get him, Nutsy," and Nutsy will go get him.
I don't know what to do with that because I don't like squirrels in their tamest of fashion.
He's feeding the squirrel meth.
But a full-on Charlie Sheen squirrel, I am super out.
Oh yeah. So this guy, he got popped for all of the drugs, and then they tacked on the charge of possession of a wild animal when they found that he had a squirrel that he had been feeding meth, and he called it his attack squirrel. Wow. Now, here's the other twist. He was supposed to go on trial this week. He did not because his lawyer didn't show up to court.
Maybe it was mauled by the attack squirrel.
I was going to say, he either got eaten by the attack squirrel or he just knew this guy is indefensible.
If you're playing Sportsocracy Bingo and you had meth squirrel, you have a bingo. Okay, mine is not crimes. I love telling crime stories in this segment.
Yes.
But one of the only things that I love telling more than crime stories is stupid social media stories. And Olivia Garcia, she is a Florida woman.
Okay.
And she apparently really likes the app TikTok, which I have just discovered, and it is without a doubt the greatest time drain I have ever seen in my life. Well, recently she was flipping through TikTok and saw that someone had posted this beautiful, majestic cityscape, and it had mountains and snow, and it was, in her words, it looked like a little town out of a Disney movie.
Yep.
So recently, she was traveling from Florida to see the recent snows, and she decided that she would stop into this town. The picture was of Switzerland, and it was very obvious that it was Switzerland. Swiss Alps, large mountains, snow, little tiny cottages and things like that. Well, the city that had been tagged in this video was Gastonia, North Carolina, of which I don't know if you've ever been there. It has never been mistaken for Switzerland ever.
No.
Is it mistaken or mistook?
Mistook. I believe that's right.
Well, apparently when she got there, she was a little disappointed. And she had a quote, and it's a phenomenal quote, and I'm going to read it right now.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden we get there, and it's just run-down gas stations. Like we had to go to the bathroom, and there was no bathroom that worked in any of the gas stations. It looked nothing like that little Disney town. Of course it did, because that's Switzerland! I personally did this of, okay, so you said that's Gastonia. Before you make a detour to see this place, maybe you should, I don't know, Google it. I did that. The first 20 pictures, while Gastonia is a lovely town, Switzerland, it ain't. And all you would have had to have done is Google that stuff, which is something I like to say a lot.
GTS.
Google that stuff.
Exactly.
And you would have not wound up in Gastonia thinking you were going to be in the Swiss Alps.
Ever since you told me about this story earlier today, I was thinking about it. I think I saw that video. And I saw it, and I went...
I've seen a slew of these.
No, I mean, I think I saw the actual one that she saw because it was beautiful. It had, giant mountains in the background with snow-covered caps, and they had a nice little beautiful church in the middle and everything. But it was tagged Gastonia, North Carolina, and I looked at it, and I went, that's not Gastonia.
Nope, been there. Seen me do it. That's not it. Lovely town. I have nothing against the town. The mayor.
Wow, Kings Mountain looks really big.
that is a weird angle they took that from. That mountain looks gigantic.
Right.
Walker E. Reed III is the mayor of Gastonia, and he has reached out to these people saying he will give them a custom tour of Gastonia if they're willing to return. No report on the response from that one.
JT Money. By the way, Jason Trump saved the day, fixed my computer. Thank you, sir. Jason Trump, you're the hero of the day.
You saved the number, right?
The number.
His number.
Oh, yeah.
I see how many oopsies you make around electronics. You're going to need to put that one on speed.
I may need to. But thank you to Jason for fixing the computer up for me. But he says in the comments, did she go to Little Switzerland while she was there? Nope. Didn't even think about that.
Apparently, she went right off the interstate and had to go potty because that was her biggest takeaway from Gastonia is that it did not have working bathrooms.
And nobody's shocked.
I saw a video just like this. So one of HWA and I's favorite vacation places is Savannah, Georgia. And somebody had posted a picture and said it was Savannah, and it was 100% Fiji. Let me just give you a piece of advice. If you ever see a place with the bluest water you've ever seen, it ain't in Georgia.
Nope.
Just gonna go ahead and tell you, that's a good way to just cull it. Just look at it and go, no, sir, that's not correct.
No.
If you see mile-high mountains, not Gastonia. And do you know what would have told you that? A topographical map.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Some of those places around the Florida Panhandle, they get pretty nice, but nowhere near what you would find in Fiji.
Yep, that would be in the Gulf and not in the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly.
Which its water has a lovely brown tint to it.
Oh,
it's
so
okay.
gross.
I still swim in the ocean.
Oh, I absolutely swim in the ocean. Absolutely love it.
It's very good. It's cleansing to the soul.
Yeah.
It feels good.
You do get a little bit spoiled though once you take one of those Caribbean vacations and you see the water down there and you go, okay, this is an ocean.
Yeah, I've been there. I've seen me do it. I actually watched fish swim around my feet. Like, never knew I was scared of fish. No, now.
Recasting the NFL. We are in a new era here, or the new era is dawning in the NFL. As we've had, time after time after time, the great quarterbacks have fallen off. Have their run has come to an end. Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady's now talking about retirement. A lot of it going to be on the family and what they decide. Aaron Rodgers could be done. And now, in the 2020s, we've got Patrick Mahomes. We've got Josh Allen, who Jeremy's already dubbed him as the lovable loser of the 2020s.
And it hurts me to say that because I really wanted them to be the Super Bowl champions.
They still got a shot, though. The foil for the next 10 years in the NFL, I guess the next 8 years in the NFL, Joe Burrow.
That's who I've got it as. And here's why I say that. This is a Bengals team that has drafted reasonably well. And it has improved exponentially over the last few years. They're another one of those teams that can take advantage, especially this year, of a really swelled draft pool where there are tons of starters that are going to come in day 3. And you've still got 3 more years of Joe Burrow at an unbelievable value.
Right.
You've already got the number 1 receiver. You've already got the number 2. You've already got the number 3. You got the running back. You got the pass rusher. I still have some now quieting reservations about your head coach. But that team is set up to be good for a long time.
Yes.
I don't know that they will ever be better in the long run than an Andy Reid coached Pat Mahomes quarterbacked team. And they've done nothing to make me think that they would.
Right.
I think they're going to be very good. They're going to be very good for a long time. I could see him being the foil.
But there's no reason to me that Joe Burrow and the Bengals can't be Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers of this next decade, where they can make a Super Bowl appearance.
Oh, I think they'll make more than one.
They will be long runs in the playoffs.
Oh, I 100% believe they make more than one. If I had to pick a quarterback right now to start a team with, it's Joe Burrow. because he's the value for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would say the ceiling for Mahomes and Burrow are very, very close. And I get one real cheap for 3 years, and the other one is about to get very, very, very expensive.
Yes. The guy who is just never there. He's around. He makes, he's going to be cool on the stats, and he'll make some Pro Bowls, but will his team ever get there? It's Justin Herbert.
And this is it's total projection.
Who are they going to beat?
That's the problem.
Right.
Are you ever going to consistently be better than Cincinnati, Kansas City, Buffalo? I don't know that you are. And you have deficiencies. I do love that you just got your left tackle. This is going to sound a little harsh.
Okay.
And I don't mean for it to. At the end of the day, you're in a city that doesn't care as much as Buffalo does, as much as Cincinnati does, as much as Kansas City does. They just don't care. You're in L.A. And yes, I do see the irony that the Rams have the best coach in the NFL, okay? And an insanely talented roster. The Chargers ownership has never made me believe they're going to do that. Now, the Bengals hadn't before this year. I could be totally wrong about this in a year. But I don't think I am.
I don't think you are either.
Justin Herbert, once you said that to me, and you mentioned Fouts from the 80s, I can't unsee it.
And Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers would have been a great one to have.
That we
in
didn't even talk about. He would have been right in the middle of the same spot. They really threatened to go to a Super Bowl once.
But we still feel like he had a Hall of Fame-ish career. I feel like he'll get into the Hall of Fame. Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer. You agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He's going to get in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be just like Dan Fouts.
One of the fun things of the NFL for the next, I'm going to say from 4 years from now to about 7 years from now, they're going to have the exact opposite problem of baseball. They're going to have way too many people that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And you never get one of those blip years where baseball goes, nope, nobody deserves it. The NFL is going to have another one of those catch-up. We need 15 for this year. Can we do that? Is there another anniversary coming up?
I also find it very odd that Drew Brees falls into this never there category as well. And he started there. Yeah, he started there with the Chargers.
I'll be honest with you, that is the weird happenstance of this that I didn't know. This was my concept. Because I've said this forever. The NFL is just like a retooling sitcom.
Yes.
They change the cast, but the plot never changes. I never realized that a lot of these were going to be the same team just down the line.
Yep. And the wild card for the 2020s, the guy who's going to do some damage, he's going to be there in the talk. He'll win an MVP or two, maybe. It's Lamar Jackson.
It is. And because look, if you told me in a conference that I know definitively is going to have this many good quarterbacks, barring injury or unforeseen circumstance, Lamar's still the one that's different. He's still the one that's really difficult to game plan. And at the end of the day, you know who that reminds me of? And Ravens fans and Steelers fans are going to hate what I'm getting ready to say. It's Ben. Ben was difficult to game plan for because you just never saw quarterbacks that played like that. You never saw a quarterback built like an edge rusher that had the best pump fake in the league. You don't ever see quarterbacks who are the fastest player on the field and have a cannon. He has accuracy issues. It has bared itself out in cold weather. That's why he's the wild card and not higher. Because I can make an argument that he should be. But he's going to be the one that nobody wants to play.
Right. Notice there were no NFC quarterbacks cast in the 2020s decade. Now, obviously, that can all change.
Who's it supposed to be?
I don't have
one. Who
one.
is the best quarterback long-term in the NFC?
Long-term in the NFC? Dak?
That would not be my answer. Really, my answer would probably be to be determined. It's Kyler Murray.
Oh, I was forgetting Kyler.
I believe in that organization about as much as I believe in gas station sushi.
Yeah, I was forgetting Kyler because I was running through every team I could think of in my head, and they all have a problem. Like Matthew Stafford's not going to be around for a long time. Russell Wilson not going to be around for a long time. You got Daniel Jones, and you got so many changes that are coming for the NFC. Aaron Rodgers leaving. Jordan Love's definitely not the future of that league.
Green Bay, you should be sending what are those edible arrangements? Is that the thing that comes in the form of a heart and it's got like pineapple in it?
The fruit, yeah.
You should be sending one of those to Aaron Rodgers' house every single day. With a note that just says, we're sorry.
Yeah. Please come. I mean, they've already made the plea. You saw all of that.
Oh, yeah.
All of the leadership with the Green Bay Packers has talked, and they definitely want Aaron Rodgers back. Well, no kidding. They saw what they have this year in Jordan Love, and it was everything that we thought it was going to be.
I feel like Packers management looked at Brian Gutekunst and said, like talking to a small child, we know you don't want to do this, okay? Just shut up about it. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say nothing at all. Unified front. We all want Aaron back. No, you don't get to talk. You saw what happened the last time you talked.
You can't hold him back, though. That jerk's always going to come through. His jerk will always shine through.
I feel like Aaron just wears on people.
He does. I mean, because he's very cocky, he's very confident, and he's very pointed in what he says. A lot of people don't like that about Aaron Rodgers. You said it yesterday. If you actually listen to what he's saying, he's telling you the path.
Oh, yeah.
He's telling you that this is a coin flip for him. Whether he comes back, whether he doesn't, whether he goes to another team, whether he goes to do movies or whatever. And I think that grates on a lot of football fans. I mean, I get his attitude's not great. That's always kind of why I liked him, because he played the heel so well. But the attitude wears on you, and also when a guy knows he's great, that also wears on you.
I mean, type A personalities wear on people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. These are people that are not going to lose. They're hyper competitive. And if you beat them, well, guess what? They're going to get a little petty.
And also when you feel like a guy's not completely in the game, like Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he was flirting with, like what was the guy, the Hub Arkish that was talking about, this guy was considering retiring and he came in with such a bad attitude and all of this. I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, I think that's a ridiculous take. If you watch Aaron Rodgers and you have any doubts about his commitment, I don't really know what you're saying. I do have to say, Kevin Vick gets a ring of the Kevin Vick Memorial Bell.
Okay.
Wait, a Tom Brady fan calling another quarterback a jerk. Right there with you.
Hey, I would rather, as the great offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers has already said, you give me the jerk. On game day, I'll take the jerk. You can have the nice guy.
Did Ben McAdoo say that?
Yeah, he did. Except for he didn't use the jerk word. He used the P word. And I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree with him at all. You can have the nice guy in the locker room, I'll take the jerk all the time. I want that guy making my decisions. That's just me. Jeremy's got 5 on it coming up next. Can he have a winning night after pulling even last night? We'll get into it. Up next, Jeremy's picks and the 5 on it coming up next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Interstates are moving incident-free. 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic volume is building and steady. Smoky Park Highway problem-free, and Patton Avenue, no backups. An accident reported on Tunnel Road near Porter's Cove Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road, seeing delays. Hendersonville Road, north and southbound between Biltmore Forest and the Blue Ridge Parkway, traffic is slowing. Checking the drive time from Bend Creek to Avery Creek via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 9 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
When others treat your fries as an afterthought, all you're left with are cold, soggy fries. That's why Wendy's new fries are ones you won't forget, guaranteed to be hot and crispy, or we'll replace them. We're talking natural cut, skin-on fries, perfectly seasoned with a hint of sea salt. In fact, they're even preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's. These are fries so hot and crispy, they beg a new question.
What would you like with your fries?
Try them today, only at Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, taste preference based on a national taste test by an independent research company.
Blitz that holiday debt and get $1,000 in your hand.
I just won $1,000.
Listen every hour from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. weekdays for your chance to win $1,000. Happening now.
Gold is near record highs, and Allen's pays the most for your gold jewelry, coins, diamonds, designer watches, and more. Take advantage of the high gold market price and get the cash you deserve today. Allen's Jewelry and Pawn, Patton Avenue, Tunnel Road, and in Cherokee.
Get a better breakfast at Wendy's. Buy any breakfast sandwich and get any size drink in a Wendy's cup free. Hot coffee, Diet Coke, or vanilla frosted-chino? Yes, free. Get your free drink when you buy a Wendy's breakfast sandwich today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
The UNC Asheville Bulldogs are back home at Kimmel Arena Thursday night for an important matchup against Gardner-Webb. And the Bulldogs would love your support in this nationally televised contest. To get tickets, go to uncabulldogs.com, uncabulldogs.com, or call 258-7900, 828-258-7900. If you can't make it out to the game, tune in to 570 WWNC. Airtime is 6:30 for the Ingles Countdown to Tip-Off show with a tip at 7 o'clock. And go Bulldogs!
We travel to see what's around the bend and what we're capable of. And now Capital One's new class of travel card can keep up with you. Introducing Venture X from Capital One. With 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy. Venture X, for those always asking, where next? Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingles, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingles, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene's alongside, and Flostradamus went 2-2 last night in the I Got 5 on it. How's your bankroll looking?
I'm right back where we started. We're right back at. I mean, I've lost $1 and some change.
All right, so he started the year with $500. You're trying to build this as you go. A little bit of a setback here, but getting back on track.
You know what? Thanks, Carolina. I needed you last night, and you came through for me with my 50 on it. Tonight, I got 3 picks for you. 2 that I've already given you, but I have a lot of confidence in, and 1 in college basketball. First one, I got 25 on it. The Syracuse Orange are a 4.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh tonight. I'm not sure that Pittsburgh's not the worst major college basketball team that I have ever seen. Syracuse is a weird matchup. That annoying zone is really difficult. I'm not sitting here telling you that Syracuse is a great team. They're markedly better than Pittsburgh. I don't believe in Pittsburgh's ability to adjust to something that they don't see very often. I got 25 on it. Give me the Syracuse Orange minus 4.5. I got 25 on it. Our Charlotte Hornets are a 3.5-point dog at Toronto. This is a gut call. Toronto's just middle of the road in about everything. There's no fans in the arena, so I don't really care that this game's on the road. The Hornets are top 6 in the NBA in virtually every offensive efficiency stat, and they're reasonably healthy. I just think they're way better than Toronto, and I'm catching 3.5 in a road game that's not really a road game. I got 25 on it. Charlotte Hornets plus 3.5. Finally, my 2022 NBA champion Denver Nuggets.
Twice in one show?
Twice in one show. Yeah, I don't get to say Denver much anymore because we're basically just Nikola Jokic and nothing else. I got 50 on it. Denver's a 6.5-point favorite at Detroit. That Detroit team's bad. They really struggle with bigs that can play away from the basket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how they're going to stop Jokic. I have all the confidence in the world that this game is never close. Denver does a great job of squishing bad teams. They'll let mediocre to average teams hang around with them. Detroit is not that. They're bad. They've already squished them once this year. I got 50 on it. Denver Nuggets minus 6.5.
Take all of those to betus.com, betus.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy. When you make your deposit there and use the promo code Sportsocracy, they will give you a 125% deposit bonus. So definitely worth your time to check that out. And, we got a couple of big showdowns in college basketball tonight. You got Michigan State and Illinois, two top 25 teams going at it. And then,
notice I avoided that game like grim death.
And then out in the Pac-12 tonight, two top 10 teams. Arizona, UCLA. Those should be fun.
If I was going to put a doubloon or two at betus.com using promo code Sportsocracy, I would lean on Arizona, but obviously I wasn't confident enough to give it to you in either of our pick segments today. But if I had a lean, it would be Arizona.
Okay. Speaking of college basketball, coming up Thursday night, the UNC Asheville Bulldogs will be taking on Gardner-Webb, the running Bulldogs, at Kimmel Arena. It's going to be on national television, and they want to pack this place out and make a good showing for the national TV crowd. So go and get your tickets today at uncabulldogs.com. Bulldogs making a push toward the top of the Big South this year. Drew Pember, I'm telling you, he's one of the best players we've had. You're going to want to see him play this week. So go Thursday night, Kimmel Arena, UNC Asheville against Gardner-Webb, nationally televised game. Tickets today. You can get them at uncabulldogs.com. We'll see you tomorrow right here in the Sportsocracy at 3 o'clock. We got the happy hour, the third uncensored hour of the program coming up on YouTube. Top 13 linebackers in the 2022 NFL Draft.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Boy, some cold nighttime low temps into the midweek forecast. Gets even colder for the weekend ahead. Talking some teens here in the valley Friday night, Saturday night. Kind of dry and cold for us. Don't have a lot of winter weather as far as precip in the forecast later this week. But boy, the winter cold is definitely here. 25 tonight. Sunshine Wednesday, 41. And teens and 20s Wednesday night and Thursday night. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need.
Liberty. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Interstates are moving incident-free. 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic volume is building and steady. Smoky Park Highway problem-free, and Patton Avenue no backups. An accident reported on Tunnel Road near Porter's Cove Road. Sweden Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road seeing delays. Hendersonville Road north and southbound between Biltmore Forest and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Traffic is slowing. Checking the drive time from Bend Creek to Avery Creek via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 9 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new hot and crispy fries. Right now at Wendy's, see why everyone is raving about their brand new fries. Natural cut, skin on with a hint of sea salt, and guaranteed to be hot and crispy or they'll replace them. You know, the way fries should be. Try Wendy's guaranteed hot and crispy fries today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene's here as well. Thanks for hanging around for the happy hour here in the Sportsocracy. TheSportsocracy.com, just in case you weren't aware. Share it out with your friends as well. Tell them to come on in and join the House of Reprehensibles like...
Oh, yeah, that's my cue.
Yep.
That's my cue to do things.
I'm your huckleberry.
Scott Cushaw, welcome into the House of Reprehensibles. What took you so long, brother? Hope you're doing well in your recovery from the surgery. He just had his ankle completely replaced, which I didn't even know was a thing.
I didn't either. It's one of those new things that I didn't know.
It makes me hurt. It makes me hurt just thinking about it. Yeah, Jason Trump saving the day once again. Yeah, it's off. So we're not going to have the time saver traffic thing coming in the middle of the show.
All right,
so
my earlobes are protected today.
Your ears are protected
because I really hate to be breaking down Nick Bonito and then blood start trickling out of my ear.
We're doing top 13. It's a top 13 Tuesday. Here, you see, the alliteration just never stops with the Sportsocracy. The Top 13 Tuesday, where we do top 13s of Jeremy's draft class. And today, you're talking about off-the-ball linebackers?
Yes. And there are a couple that people are going to go, and then one of them I've already said.
Nick Bonito.
It depends on where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are teams that are going to see him as an off-ball linebacker. I'm not so sure that I love that idea, but he does qualify. Linebacker this is one of the positions in this draft that I look at and go, the high side is tremendous because there are two. I haven't seen many drafts where there were two top 20 off-ball linebackers. The only one I remember is Devin White and Devin Bush. I mean, there was an Aaron Curry year that no one wants to talk about.
Right.
That is still a name that we say in hushed tones.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, he fooled a lot of us.
All right, well, let's, and of course, anything you want to talk about as well, just throw those out in the chat box, and we will get to those over the next hour as well.
If you go to Twitter, I posted this in our group chat on Facebook. I will post it in our Twitter. My buddy Matt Miller at NFL Draft Scout just posted a thing saying, "Who are the up-and-coming young draft scouts?" So if you would like to go...
Don't beg for votes. That makes you seem petty.
I'm not begging for votes. Frankly, you can go talk shit about me if you want to. Matt and I have crossed paths a few times over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, amazing guy. Follow him on Twitter. He is there are very few people that do what I do that I go, you know what? That guy's just flat out better than I am. He is just flat out better than I am.
Right.
If one of those things, the two of us, I will fight until my dying day for us to be successes in this. Matt is just a notch below us because he is a fucking rock star in this, and I will use my little platform to push that as far as I possibly can.
Okay. All right, so top 13 linebackers, off-the-ball linebackers in the 2022 NFL Draft. Hit us with number one.
I have a feeling yours is Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
Mine is not.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I'm not, though. The problem with Nakobe Dean is he's so short.
Yeah, Devin Lloyd's
and
good.
I have Nakobe Dean at 2. He's going to run really fast.
Just a reminder for everybody, seeing the graphic, the colors don't mean anything other than those are guys that Jeremy wants to highlight.
Yeah, I'm just higher on them than most people are.
Yeah.
The thing about Devin Lloyd is that I know this is lazy because they have the same first name, I could see him being a not as fast version of Devin White.
Okay.
Devin Lloyd is a freaking menace on a football field.
Yes.
He's very long.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets to the combine, he'll measure somewhere in the neighborhood of 6'3", 240. He's not going to run Nakobe Dean fast. Like, Nakobe Dean could run a 4.48, and I'm not going to be shocked.
Right.
I'll be shocked if Devin Lloyd's faster than 4.65, but he plays faster than that. You watch the tape at Utah, and it's not hard to find old number 0 because he jumps off tape damn near every time you watch him. He's a great pass rusher. To me, he fits best in like a Buffalo. I would love him in Buffalo, but he's never going to last that long.
No.
I would say he probably comes off the board somewhere in the top 20. If you're looking to pick nits on him, he might get swept up as a pass rusher some at the next level, especially big, like hulking guards. I could see him getting washed out in that.
Mm-hmm.
He's very strong, but I think he needs to add a little bulk. I'd like to see some good muscle added. I would love to see him play in the 250, 255 range and not lose any explosiveness. I don't know how well he will test. The thing that makes me nervous is that he's not going to test as well as Nakobe Dean, and then Dean goes in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Nakobe Dean's just more of a specific scheme kind of fit.
Okay.
The thing about Nakobe Dean, who is my number 2, and you're going to hear me say this about Georgia guys probably every time I mention them, it was such an accumulation of talent that it's kind of a hard evaluation. Nakobe Dean was the cleanup guy. You saw him do otherworldly things. Well, here's the problem. There were 3 other draftable linebackers on that team. There were 4 draftable defensive linemen on the team,
mm-hmm.
3 in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole lot of, and I'm not just saying they're in this draft. I'm saying they could all be drafted in this draft.
Right.
And 6 of them could go in the first 2 days. I have been burned by that in the past. Now, what I will say is he has Devin White's speed. He's so short that makes me nervous. I don't know that he's going to be able to translate that speed to covering tight ends. He's an amazing cover guy.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of reminds me of a better blitzing version of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah that came out last year. Because I feel like you can use him as a piece. This is a guy that can defend slot receivers as a linebacker, which gives you a lot of flexibility that you just don't see from linebackers. In the modern day NFL, he's got a chance to be a stud. If he'd come out 5 years ago, I would not have liked his chances nearly as much because he is not a big guy. But he works tirelessly.
Right.
Every person that has ever been in contact with Nakobe Dean says he is the hardest working guy, first one in, last one out. It's a physical limitation thing for me.
He does get also a little overexcited at times. Like, you will see on tape, he will overrun plays. So, I mean, that's just one knock on it. It's like literally the only knock that I have on him.
Well, I mean, the thing is that he has such physical limitations that there are times that guys like that feel like they have to play 200 miles an hour at all times.
Right.
And you can get to the league and now they're running right at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, all we have to do is throw a guard at him. He's going to get washed out. And now there's a hole there because he over pursues everything. That's why he's 2 and not 1. I don't necessarily think he can be a great pass rusher in the league because he's so small.
Mm-hmm.
He's another one. You put him in a Buffalo, and I've got that slew of pass rushers in front of me. Okay, that changes shit. What makes me nervous is that he winds up somewhere like Denver. And they ask him to play inside in a 3-4. Please no. Please no.
He needs to be on the outside where he can get to the quarterback.
In a 4-3.
Okay.
He is a 4-3 outside linebacker. That is how I see him. He's so short that I don't think he can physically overcome that to do the things that you have to do as a middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he can be an unbelievably good off-ball linebacker.
Okay. At number 3 on the top 13 linebackers list.
If you ranked the things I love in life, this kid would come in at like 9.
Oh, yeah. Brandon Smith from Penn State.
Yeah. Tank loves to start. He's a list guy. Tank likes to make lists.
I do.
I would wager he's already working on a list of guys that when they hit in the NFL, I'm going to be insufferable about. This is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I see this kid in the 3rd round, and I laugh out loud. He's a little thin. You get him in an NFL strength and conditioning program, this kid could be the best linebacker in this draft. 6'3", 240, fast as good holy hell.
Mm-hmm.
Plays like his hair's on fire. The one knock on him, I mean, and this is a big knock for a linebacker, he does tend to miss tackles from time to time. Now, the question is, and you have to be careful, especially in the Big Ten, because a lot of Big Ten teams play differently than what you're going to see. You don't see many teams in the NFL that play like Michigan State where they're going to line up with a damn fullback in the backfield and throw Kenneth Walker at you.
Right.
That's not an NFL scheme. I mean, there are teams that do that. Cleveland does that. Baltimore does that. So would I love Brandon Smith going to the Cincinnati Bengals? No. You know where I would love him? With the Los Angeles Rams in a high-powered passing offense because he's super tall. He's 6'3". That's really tall for an off-ball linebacker. I think he will be a cheat code on tight ends.
Okay.
Look at the divisions that have really good tight ends. AFC West, I would love this kid with, say, the Chargers. This is a kid that I think could play with Denver.
Okay.
I don't know that he's ever going to be I don't know that he'll ever be a great middle linebacker, but I do think he can play off ball and just let the kid be a damn athlete. That's one thing that you're going to see a lack of in this class. There are not a ton of hyper athletic linebackers. This kid will run the fastest time at the combine among linebackers, and it's probably not going to be close.
Ran a 4.38 in high school.
And I think he's faster now. My projection on him at the speed he plays at is 4.4. I could see him running faster than Micah Parsons did.
Yeah.
Now he's not as yoked as Micah Parsons was. There's a little more. I'm remiss to say baby fat because that's not it. I mean, he's very physically imposing, but he's so lean that it doesn't necessarily look as impressive. And he doesn't come with the violent aggression that Micah Parsons did. But he's so hyper. He's very modern day NFL linebacker.
Okay.
He's another one that I could have seen playing safety 10 years ago. He's that fast.
Number 4 on your list.
Lost the list. There it is.
Damone Clark from LSU.
All right. There is a wide range of takes on this kid. Phenomenal athlete. He's about the same height as Brandon Smith. He's at 6'3", but he's about 250, maybe even bigger than that. I just don't think he's going to run as fast, and he kind of needs to because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the catch-up speed. When I see him on film, the thing that pushes him down to 4 to me, physical talent, he's probably more talented than anybody on this list. The problem is his eye discipline is bad at times. Now, was that a product of maybe a lack of talent on the LSU defense, poorly coordinated? There have been a lot of issues on the LSU defense over the last couple of years, and he could have been a product of that. He's very long. I think there is some raw to him, and my biggest fear with him, and the reason that he is here, is there are people that think he's going to go in the top 20, and that's a bad damn idea. Because now you have to be an impact, no doubt, 3-down starter from week 1, and I don't like that idea. I'm more like him as a second, third down linebacker, first year in the league, and learn to stop falling for. That's not how I want to say that. Misdirection screws with him. Sleight of hand magic plays are going to really screw with him.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of the NFL is. A lot of the NFL is that you have to see things and diagnose them quickly. I would say he's the antithesis of Ray Lewis. The violent aggression's not really there, but he's such a raw athlete that I don't see a way that he's going to wash out elite. Worst case scenario, this kid's going to be an elite special teamer for many years to come.
Yep.
And now that's a super worst case scenario. I'd say he's probably starting his league for 8 to 10 years. He's just going to have to learn to play the position the way it's intended to be, and he needs to be put in the right situation.
Yep. Stephen Tao asked in the comments, did JOK make the all-rookie team this year? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. The linebackers for the all-rookie team this year were him and Micah Parsons. Told you so.
Oh, we got one of these.
I'm your huckleberry.
Yep.
Armchair said the new thumbnails are fire. I try. I mean, a lot of them are cheaters that they built the frame for me, and I just.
Patrick Holt wants to know, does Washington need to take a linebacker to make up for the Jamin the Bust Davis pick?
That's a very well-timed question because I would love them to pair him with my number 5.
Christian Harris out of Alabama.
All right, what am I getting ready to say?
Nick Saban gets the most out of his guys.
Can you tell we've been doing this together for a while?
6'2", 235? I think is
that's about right. I think he's a little thicker than that.
Mm-hmm.
I can miss weight from time to time, but he looks a little thicker than that to me. This kid's not a great pass rusher. I think Jamin Davis can be. There are times, and you'll hear me say this a lot through the draft process, there are times that you could draft a guy, and he's almost 2 picks. I feel like Christian Harris in Washington could be 2 picks because you put him alongside Jamin Davis. He can do the things that Jamin Davis can't, and vice versa. Jamin Davis is a hyper-athletic linebacker. Christian Harris is not. He's just not. This is an old-school, squatty, neck-board linebacker that will knock your absolute head off. You're going to hear this 100 times. You heard it about Dylan Moses last year. You hear it about Alabama linebackers incessantly. I don't know that he could cover me. I don't know if one-on-one I lined up next to him, he could keep me from hitting the corner on a post route because he is bad in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? You put him next to a linebacker that is. Does it make your defense a little easier to project? It does.
Mm-hmm.
But then every once in a while you throw in the sleight of hand magic of, oh, look, now Jamin Davis is coming and Christian Harris is dropping, and nobody sees that coming.
Right.
I could see those two together being very productive. But to answer Holt's question, do I feel like they have to take another linebacker? No. I don't feel like they have to. Could it help? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like 5 is the time that I have to say this. There's a name with linebackers that we have to say. And you know what I'm getting ready to say. It's Adam Anderson. I mean, we got to talk about Adam Anderson.
Adam Anderson, the guy from Georgia that wound up in some legal trouble.
He's been accused of sexual assault.
Yeah.
We routinely say that we're not lawyers, we're not cops, we weren't there, we don't know. If those things were to be cleared, I can't see him going in the first round now, even if that just came out to be total bullshit.
Right.
Of which I'm not saying it is. Let's say that happened, that it was just a fallacy, or he got, acquitted of it, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he would fall into that day 2 range, risky 3rd round pick. If it's still hanging over his head, I don't see how you draft him. But he would have been the number 1 pick. He would have been the number 1 linebacker on this list if it wasn't for that.
Right.
Hyper athletic, super long. Everything you want from a linebacker. But with that being, with that cloud over his head, I can't put him on a list like this.
Yeah.
There's too high of a likelihood that he's just going to be an undrafted, what could have been story.
Yeah. At number 6 on Jeremy's list is another Georgia linebacker here, Channing Tindall. I don't feel like he gets enough. He doesn't get enough pub because Nakobe Dean's there, and everybody's, when you're talking about the Georgia defense, you're probably talking about Lewis Sin, and you're talking about Jordan Davis up front. But Channing Tindall, that guy's a dog. Had a great showing against Alabama in the championship game. I think he had 5 quarterback pressures in the championship game against Alabama. The Tennessee game this year was really, really good for him. He had 3 sacks, I think. What do you like about him at the next level?
That I think there's a lot to be had. I watched Jermaine Johnson go to Florida State and them get the most out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's going to get dinged is that he couldn't start.
Right.
It is really hard for you to look at a linebacker and go, you couldn't start in college. How the hell are you going to start from me? And then you get back to but that defense is probably the most talented defense I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
This kid's raw as hell. At the end of the day, he's just raw as hell. That's the reason he couldn't get on the field, is because he never really developed.
Right.
He has every physical tool you could ever want. The problem, and there are two, one is that he didn't break 600 snaps the entire time he was at Georgia. So there's a lot that you just don't know.
Lots of tread left on those tires.
Well, and I don't. And look, I'm not disagreeing with that. I have the kid reasonably high. It's just a lot of projection because he is hyper fast. He's long. I've also seen him get absolutely dominated by big tackles. Damn near all of the tackles in the NFL are. So it's a projection. And he will get pushed up because there's not a lot of hyper-athletic linebackers in this draft. But he's a talented kid. Colin asked,
I'm your huckleberry.
What linebacker out of this draft fits the Kansas City Chiefs defense with the young core they are building right now with Nick Bolton and Willie Gay? I would look to Christian Harris. Here's what I would want if I'm looking for that third linebacker. All right, Nick Bolton is a guy that I talked about a lot last year, and that bared itself out.
Yep.
That is a dude that will knock your absolute friggin' block off. Willie Gay's a good pass rusher. He's so athletic that he kind of works in space. You need somebody that can cover. Just looking at the board, if I had to pick one, oh, shit. Come back, board. Too many buttons. If I had to pick one, I would say Brandon Smith would be the one that would make the most sense. I think you're going to have to invest a lot of draft capital there, and I'm not sure Kansas City is going to be in the place to do that. I'm going to tell you a name, and he's a little bit lower, and we'll talk about him a little bit later on in this. DeMarco Jackson out of Appalachian State. He's a kid that I would like in that Kansas City defense because I think he does things that the linebackers there don't necessarily do.
Okay.
That's what I want, a diverse linebacker core. All right, you look at Tampa Bay. They have one of the best linebacker cores, one of the best linebacker duos in the league.
Yes.
Why? Because you have two linebackers that do completely different shit.
Mm-hmm. You got Levante David, who is the head hunter, he's the run stopper guy.
And then Nick Bolton.
And then you have Devin White, who is the field ranger. He can come off he just do it all.
And that's the sideline to sideline guy. And some people would say, hey, Willie Gay can be that. I'm not so sure that without a Chris Jones and Melvin Ingram just being a man in front of him, that he would look as good in that role. I think it helps he's got two pass rushers in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And it speeds things up. My fear with Willie Gay has always been he gets lost out in space. Do I still like the guy? Absolutely. I want a rangier linebacker that can do the sideline-to-sideline things and be better in coverage. That's what I would look for if I was Kansas City. So that would lend to Brandon Smith and kind of falls into – this is going to sound really strange for what I just said. I wouldn't mind one of the Wisconsin guys either.
Mm-hmm.
One of those guys that are they overly athletic? No. Can they do what I just said? No. But maybe Willie Gay can. And a guy that's just constantly in the right spot. I've always really liked Wisconsin linebackers because I know whether it was I'm trying to remember the kid's name. It'll come to me in a minute. He plays for the Saints. All I'm hearing is Jack Cohn in my head. I know his name's very close to that, but I can't think of what it is. Somebody like that would fit nicely in Kansas City.
Okay. Alex Majabi asked in the comments, do you know who Jamal Davis II is? The Chargers just signed him, and he played in the CFL.
I have done absolutely nothing with futures contracts or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Allow me to look him up and see if anything triggers in my brain when I see him.
Jogs your memory about Jamal Davis II.
He played at Akron. He's been out for a few years. Did he ask me about him being a linebacker? Because I don't. If I'm remembering the right guy here, he's not actually a linebacker. He's an edge guy.
He didn't ask about. He didn't say position. He just said he wanted to know who he was because the Chargers just signed him.
I mean, I could go back through notes and see if something came, but off the top of my head, I do not.
Yeah. All right. It's fair enough. Zach Bond. Is that
Zach Bond?
Is that the one you were thinking of?
I had Jack Cohn stuck in my head. Like I know it's close to that.
Kudos, Rob Johnson.
Thank you.
Because it wasn't coming to me either. I was like, Wisconsin linebacker.
I got news for you. Before this draft happens, Jeremy's going to have to learn to CB. As I get to about this point of the day, and I'm like, oh, superpowers have been taken from me.
Let's talk about Chad Moma from Wyoming.
I like this kid.
He is your number 7 on the top 13 linebackers list for the 2022 NFL draft.
All right, so you full well should know a kid that played at Wyoming is going to get the tag of, but did he play against a real?
Of course.
I don't care. People said the same thing about Josh Allen. This kid's the best tackler in this class. And I don't really think it's all that close. You put him in coverage, okay, there's some less than ideal tape against less than ideal competition. I get it. He's not quick twitch. He's not super athletic. No, he's 6'3", 250, and he will absolutely steal your soul out of your body.
Right.
This is one of those, to me, this is one of those guys that if he lasts until the 4th round, I don't care if I need a linebacker or not. Because no matter what my scheme is, I can find a place for this kid to play. This is a run stopper immediately. Don't care they played at Wyoming. I don't care about any of that shit. Now, if somebody takes him in the 2nd round and is expecting him to be a 3-down linebacker, okay, you might be disappointed early. Because he's not particularly good in coverage. He's not a great pass rusher. There were some bursts, but you have to be really careful of who those are against. Because Wyoming doesn't play the most daunting schedule that you've ever seen.
Right. A lot of his games are against Montana State.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite that low, but it's pretty bad. He never stops. This kid was a 2 or 3-star recruit coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he wound up at Wyoming. He never stops. This is one of those motor guys that just you're never going to have to worry about him taking a playoff. I'm higher on him, I think, than the industry is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what he's going to run. That's one of the things. He's one of those players that falls into that hard evaluation territory because I'm not 100% sure how fast he is. I feel like he's one of those kids that looks like he's about 4'6", but is going to run about a 4'8".
Yeah.
Which would push him down into that day 3 tier where I would just be sitting there going, we're taking him. I'm not thinking about it. I don't care what you want, Coach Fuckstick. He plays for us now.
And where do you see him playing best? What scheme do you see him fitting best into in the NFL?
I wish he wasn't. If he wasn't so damn tall, I would say he's a 3-4 inside linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
The team I can't get away from with him is Baltimore because I think next to Patrick Queen, I could see Queen's the rangier guy. This kid's not that, but he is such a surefire tackler. I think if it were up to me, his best fit would be inside in a 3-4. Just wish he was a little bit shorter. Tall linebackers have not fared well at that, doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And there are exceptions to that. There are exceptions to everything. But I love the motor on this kid.
Okay.
And the more I watched it, the more I went, good God, there's times that your motor is running 1 billion miles an hour, and this game is not even close.
At number 8, you got another Georgia linebacker here. So this will be the 4th Georgia linebacker that we've talked about if you include Adam Anderson into the discussion. Number 8, Quay Walker. And the guy that at times he was the scapegoat for me watching my team.
Yeah.
Of what are you doing, Quay?
Another insane. I swear to you, I think Kirby Smart just looks at the list of linebackers and goes, well, if they're not 6'3", I'm not recruiting them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wants just absolute monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my problem. What does he do well? What does Quay Walker do really well?
Get on my nerves.
He does not miss many tackles.
He is a good tackler, but as far as it comes to coverage or anything like that, like I think
his liability in coverage.
I would say he was probably the most penalized linebacker at Georgia this year.
It's because he gets grabby.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not overly fast.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets beat, his natural reaction is to grab you.
Yep.
And for me, I look at that and go, ooh, that's one of those traits in the NFL that doesn't tend to go well. So I'm probably lower on sheer talent. To me, he is clearly the 4th linebacker for Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Adam Anderson thing we've already talked about. Do I think he could be developed? Maybe, but you're never going to make him any faster. You're never going to make him any more instinctual. So I just kind of think he is what he is. I mean, can he be a 2-down linebacker in the NFL? Absolutely. And third down rolls around, and there he goes.
Yep.
He's the guy that comes off the field for the nickelback. That's just what he is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see more than that. Some people do. I don't. I don't see. I would literally rather have everybody on this list. And the line of demarcation here is that everybody below him either don't know where they play, they played at a tiny-ass little small school, or they're so unathletic that I'm not positive you can stay in this league.
Quay is athletic. It's just it's the headspace. It's the headspace that concerns me.
He's athletic-ish. I feel like people. Do you think he's crazy fast?
No, he's not crazy fast. But I'm saying for linebackers, I mean he's all right. he's all right. He's another one of the motor guys, though. I mean, he is just go all the time, and that's why I think he gets. That's why I believe that he's the most penalized in the league because, I mean, he has had a lot of them.
He's a Todd Bowles linebacker because one of his we have a term for guys like this. He's an 18-wheeler. The way he's laid out, it takes him forever to turn. And so his hips aren't fluid. And
That's
he gets
great.
Yeah, he's an 18-wheeler. It takes him fucking forever to turn.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
But now you put him in a system that caters into that, which is that Tampa 2 kind of defense. And now he could be a usable linebacker. And I think he could actually have a role. I just don't want him on the field in passing downs a lot.
Mm-hmm. Next up on the list at number 9, this is where you have Nick Bonito, who you mentioned at the top of the program, out of Oklahoma.
He's the definition of a tweener.
I think he's more of an edge guy,
and I would agree with that. The thing that annoys me about Nick Bonito is that everything he does lends itself to he should be a 3-4 drop linebacker. He's a phenomenal pass rusher. The only problem is that when he gets there are times that he can't finish. I'm not sure how, because he's so angular when he runs, I'm not sure how that's going to go against big tackles. I feel like any team that drafts him to be anything other than a 3-4 outside linebacker is going to be disappointed. Because you have to remember, he played in a conference where you don't see a lot of NFL-level linemen. You see a lot of small – that's the best way I can say that. Some of the best production I saw from him were him beating guys that are my size. I mean, especially since PhD weight loss has done so much to slim me down.
Good for you.
You don't see a lot of linemen that are built like me. So you get in the NFL, and the thing I can't get away from is, all right, what are you going to do when you see Garrett Bowles? Like, it's just mountain. Are you going to get around that? Because I've never seen you have a move to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start thinking about Oklahoma edge guys. There seems to be one of these every year that I watch the tape and I go, God, his pass rush ability is just so good. And then I start thinking about it, going, you're beating 275-pound tackles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see many of those in the NFL. And so this is one of those times, you know what, I might be too low on Nick Bonito, but I'm not getting fooled.
Okay. And then at number 10, how do you say his last name? Chenal?
Leo Chenal.
Chenal. Leo Chenal from Wisconsin.
And that's totally a guess. I have absolutely no idea.
See, but you said it with confidence, and that's what matters.
Yeah, it could be Leo Chanel for all I know. He could be the heir to the Chanel fortune.
It's not, that's Channel.
All right, I'm going to say something about this kid, and I do not say this lightly. How many times are we going to see linebackers come out of this school that are not overly fast, they're not overly athletic, they're not huge, they're not all of the knocks physically, and yet they just beat the high holy hell out of people as pass rushers? And we just go, no, you're too small, you're too slow, you're too whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is this what this kid is? I could see this kid being the best edge rusher in this class, not named Aiden Hutchinson and not named Kayvon Thibodeau.
Really?
And I don't feel like he's going to get drafted that way. In the right scheme, I could see him being tremendously good. Couldn't cover me. I'm just going to be real honest with you. He couldn't cover me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I got. Oh, he's short. Whoopie-doo. He's not good in coverage. Whoopie-doo. I think he's going to come in and be an immediate pass-down guy. This is something I don't say very often. I almost wish this guy would slim down a little bit. Because he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's a nice way to say this. You ever look at bodybuilders and go, how do you play with yourself? Like, there's too much of you, and there's too much, how does that? I kind of do that with him. Like, you're huge. You need to not be so huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually think it would fix some of the mobility problems. He's never going to be super long. I mean, I think 6'2" is being nice. He's listed at 6'2", and I got news for you. If he's 6'2", I'm 6'7".
Mm-hmm.
So I would say he's closer to about 6 foot. I would say he's probably 6 foot 260. He's been on Bruce Feldman's freak list, I think, every single year.
Okay.
Because he is a freak of nature. Just got to find somebody that can channel that.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one, 3-4 outside linebacker. Situational, bring the kid in, and just let him go. And don't ask him to do other shit. You want to know how you screw this kid up? You ask him to do too many things. Oh, but can you drop and get? No, I can get quarterback.
Yeah.
See ball, get ball.
Okay.
That's a phrase that I love using that you're going to hear a whole mess of times during the pre-draft process.
Mm-hmm.
See ball, get ball.
We've got a comment in the comment section here. Oh, Stephen Towle wants to join a boxing gym. Yeah, hit up Rogue Combat Club.
100%.
Give them a call today. And everybody's talking about what they're going to have for dinner. Oh, my gosh. Frankie Cleary's having crispy pork belly tacos.
Oh, that's I'm having a salad.
Oh.
It's a salad. It has vegetables in it.
I love vegetables.
I do too, but okay, we had burgers and by the way,
I still haven't recovered from that.
Jack in the Box burger, that got skull rocked at 3 o'clock this morning.
3 o'clock.
I laid in bed for 2 solid hours thinking about that Jack in the Box burger. And I finally went, you know what? If you eat that, you might sleep. And guess what? I did.
You did. Well, good for you.
Oh, I heated that sumbitch up and covered it in mayonnaise and ketchup.
I, on the other hand, have not been able to eat solid food in 2 days. I'm hoping to change that tonight with dinner.
So when you say you haven't been able to eat solid food, why?
Because I still feel like my stomach is full from eating those burgers the other day.
Pussy.
I know.
I've eaten. I ate the last burger. So good. Jack in the Box. That one's better heated up. I'll be honest with you, it was better heated up than it was hot, or hot-ish. Hot.
We didn't
adjacent.
have any of them that were hot adjacent. That was stone cold burgers.
I still maintain that you're totally wrong about a Big Mac.
No, we're not. It's all bread and just fluff.
I've been arguing with my wife about this for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
It's all bread with a little bit of Thousand Island snot on it, and it's fine. It's not great.
McDonald's is wonderful. It's been good to me. I don't talk shit about your friends. Now you don't talk about it. Okay?
I like McDonald's. I just never liked the Big Mac. Never got into it. Again, too much bread for
Kelvin
me.
Joyner said I may have had my greatest moment during that stream. You did have a very good moment during that stream. Talking shit about you.
Oh.
Yeah, you may have cried it out or put it out of your brain.
I don't remember. Scott Cutshaw, deer meatloaf, fried potatoes, and green beans.
I love meatloaf.
Stephen Towle, chicken Brussels and taters. I mean, it's just not. It's not dinner. I mean, am I the only one? I have this fight with my wife of if there's not a meat on the table, it's not dinner. Do you agree or do you disagree? Okay. Because, she likes to do like country vittles dinner that's just got beans and green beans and coleslaw and cornbread. And the first time she ever made that for me, I went, "Where's the meat?" "We don't have any meat. This is my mom's favorite meal." "Well, your mom's not here. And
your mom's not eating it." So.
Exactly. And before anybody says anything, this was before her mom died. I wasn't taking a shot at her mom.
Well, that would have made you a dick.
It would have made me a major one. Tyler Cunningham with the rice, cheese, and broccoli casserole and summer sausage. Very nice. I like the menus that you guys are throwing out here. And then classic Clay. When you live at the beach, you live as the beach dwellers do. Just bourbon and a shrimp cocktail.
Nothing wrong with that.
Get down with it.
That sounds tremendous.
Absolutely. Yeah, Stephen Tao. Protein, starch, vegetable. That's dinner. You check all the boxes, that's dinner. If you can't check all the boxes, you are short of dinner. We're having we're having side dishes for dinner. Alex Majabi says he's on the protein shake. Good for you. Good for you. Mm-hmm. Healthy living never hurt anybody. All right, let's get back to the top 13 linebackers in the 2022 NFL draft list. At number 11, this is where you have DeMarco Jackson from Appalachian State.
Mm-hmm. I like this kid. This is one of those that I don't have a great, there's not a great, hey, he's going to come in the league and do this. He's short, he's thin, and he's slow. But he's really instinctual, and when you watched App State play, he was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sit here and tell you I watched 13 Appalachian State games. I might be too high on this kid, but I do like him. He's never going to be Ray Lewis because he's just not big enough to be – he's not big enough to be that terrifying guy. However, I think he's another one that falls into that worst-case scenario. I think he would be a very good special teamer. He could work on tackling, but all of the other – he can hit every other benchmark. Just needs to be a surer tackler. And I think that could come from an NFL strength and conditioning room.
All right, tell us about Josh Ross from Michigan.
He gets washed out. You watch the tape from Michigan, and this is another one that there's so much talent on that team that he never necessarily jumps off the screen. Another one that's not, physical limitations are certainly there. And you remember that thing I said about linebackers that can't cover?
Yeah.
He might not be able to cover my coffee cup. He's not good at that.
Well, that's bad.
At all. I could see him being in a situational run-down linebacker kind of role. Here's the other thing I could see. Him being way better than everybody thinks he is based off the tape at Michigan because he had about 19 different defensive schemes.
Mm-hmm.
And he got washed out. Better tape on him 2 years ago than last year. So some of this is on that. You're officially getting into the, there are big raging problems with your game.
Yep.
He's not an I shouldn't say he's not instinctual. I've seen running backs plow him, which makes me slightly nervous.
Was that on OnlyFans?
There's a reason I tell the jokes.
Oh, shut up. That was funny, and you know it. Roy says he's got good feet.
He does have good feet.
Yeah. Thanks for chiming in, Rex Ryan.
He 2 at one time? Jesus Christ, he won't tell another joke for a month.
And
there are some intangibles with Ross that I just can't teach you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a player that's been talked about in the comments that you beat me to it. And we'll talk about him after we get through the top 13 because he would have been my 14. But there's a problem that everybody seems to be missing with him. and I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, and at number 13 on the top 13 2022 outside or off-ball linebackers list, Jacoby McLean.
Yeah, he's a bowling ball. I'm convinced he actually does not have a neck on his entire. Like he has a head sitting on a pair of shoulders.
Right.
He kind of reminds me of Jamie Sherwood. He's built like a safety, but good God, he can lay the hammer. Problem is, he always wants to lay the hammer. There's no, hey, I'm just going to hit you and you're going to fall down. It's, I'm going to hit you and you're going to wish that you had died before you hit the ground.
Okay.
And that's, lateral agility's not great, not a great change of direction guy. He's a Jamie Sherwood. That's once I saw that happen last year with the Jets where they converted him to linebacker, they loved him. And he's a core special teamer his entire career. And once you get into the 13th linebacker, that's really all you can ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know there's a lot of, and now we're getting into number 14 that I've seen mentioned. Scott Cutchall. I mean, I got to give credit. Not a lot of people know who this kid is. And he might be a fucking unicorn. His name's Troy Anderson, and he goes to Montana State. He just got a Senior Bowl invite. I don't know what position he plays in the NFL, but I know he plays a position. There are websites that literally have never graded him as a linebacker because he played multiple positions at Montana State. I think he's going to be ridiculously fast. The Senior Bowl week, the reason he's not on this list because the Senior Bowl hasn't happened yet. I want to see how he fares against that. Montana State is not a high level of competition.
Right.
So there are things there are eye-catching plays with him. There is no doubt that you have got to give merit to I don't know that he has ever played against a player that will play in the NFL.
Okay.
But there is a lot to like about him. He's fast. He's long. He's lean. He's got a frame that can add. I mean, hell, I can see him adding 20 extra pounds.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that makes me nervous about him is he reminds me of Jordan Willis. Because I gave this exact same grade on Jordan Willis. He's so athletically gifted that, good God, you're going to find a place to use him somewhere.
Right.
Well, it took like 6 years for anybody to find a place for him.
Right. And he just he's the one that
he's
just
the one
blocked
that
the
blocked
kick.
the punt for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Played for the Bengals, played for the Jets. And he never could hold up as a pass rusher because this kid's actually built like a pass rusher. The only problem is he plays linebacker. And I think his role is a linebacker. Could he be a 3-4 edge rusher? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're basically going to have to teach him the entire position, no matter what position he plays. So this is the definition of a raw ball of clay. What can you do with it? It's a guy that could wash out of the league in 2 years, and it would not shock not one soul. Or you could hit that athletic freak of nature that makes you look like a genius.
Yep. On the dinner menu tonight for the Sportsocracy crew here, yes, you're all part of the crew. Kelvin Joyner's doing Fritos and chili. You got Hamburger Helper for Rob Johnson.
What do you put on Hamburger Helper? It has to have a sauce. You have to put sauce on hamburger.
It's got cheese sauce.
No, it needs ketchup. It's quite lovely.
Seems like overkill to me.
Anything with burger needs ketchup on it.
Needs ketchup on it. Okay, I can get down with that.
Cheese too.
Bo, what's up, Bo? Him and Karen are having Philly cheesesteaks tonight.
Oh, I love them. All of this is things that I can't have, and it makes me sad.
That's so great. And there have been a couple of meatloafs in here, not the deer meatloaf like Scott's having tonight. But who was it? Somebody said meatloaf is the greatest. Ring that bell.
I love
meatloaf is the greatest. Rob Johnson also wants to know, what about Darian Beavers from Cincinnati? Where do you have him falling in your ranking, and how high do you think he can go in the draft?
Darian Beavers would have been one of the closest ones. I would say he probably would have been at 16.
Okay.
My problem with him is he doesn't – there are burst plays that are phenomenal. And then you get into what do you do real well? All right, you've got good length because he's 6'4". I don't think that's right. 6'4", 2. All right, we'll go with it. 255.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right, but maybe I'm wrong.
You think he's thicker or leaner?
I think he's thicker than that.
Okay.
You see chunk plays where you're like, oh, my God, look at it, and then you forget he's on the field for 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothers me when you're playing against East Carolinas and Armies and Navies and shit like that.
Right.
Never was a great pass rusher. It had 10 tackles for loss last year.
Mm-hmm.
Better in coverage than you think. I just feel like he's going to have to learn a lot. He's one of the – looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane.
Okay. 2 ACC guys I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Jeremiah Gemmel from Carolina. He was obviously the leader of that defense. It wasn't a great defense, but I mean, he's got some skills.
I don't disagree with you. He's short.
Mm-hmm.
He's short. He's another one that falls into that I like you better playing in his own defense and using your instincts. My fear with him is he looks like a running back. Very rarely do I ever see a linebacker and go, you're just a little tiny bastard, aren't you? That they end up being really productive. Now, the way that the NFL's going, you can see Jeremiah Gemmel's a perfect example. 5 years ago, I would have said, absolutely not. He's too small. The frame can't add the weight. He's going to be undersized forever. He's going to get flooded out in the run game. You better hope to God he's a halfway decent zone pass coverage guy to even have a spot in the league. Now, linebackers are getting smaller. Safeties are getting faster. Linebackers are getting smaller. So do I think he has a place in the league? Yeah. I'm going to say I would have had him in the – he's been in the early 20s probably. He's a 6th, 7th round guy for me.
Okay. And what about James Skalski? Does he have any future in the NFL?
Special teams guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's a special teams guy. I mean, he's just one of those that he's a name.
Mm-hmm.
If you took the name off the jersey, I think it would be very easy for you to go, well, you know, he was a good college player.
Right. Okay.
Clemson's got like 3 or 4 linebackers in this draft class, and I don't look at any of them and go, you're more than a special teams guy.
Mm-hmm.
Skalski will get drafted on, I'm not going to say on name alone because that's not true. He has a merit. I think he is a team leader kind of guy.
Yes.
Some really dumbfoundingly stupid decisions.
Mm-hmm. In big games, too.
Yeah. He's been ejected out of 2 playoff games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of hard to get away from. He just reminds me too much of like a Ben Boulware.
Right.
Like just a little squatty feller that, okay, what do you do really well?
Mm-hmm.
See, you're half-assed in coverage, but you're so short that tight ends are going to kill you. You're not fast enough to run with wide receivers.
I felt the same way about Ben when he came out.
Yeah.
I
did too.
You're a good linebacker in the ACC.
And I like Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Like him personally a lot. But
you know him?
Of him.
Okay.
I mean, we ain't going to see each other on the street and go, hey, what up, Big B? That's not going to happen. But,
you've been in his presence.
Correct.
All right, I got you.
And I listen to some of his stuff. He's really talented at what we do.
Oh, yeah, he's on the Clemson coverage.
He is.
That's right. I had forgotten about that. Any other linebackers that you want to talk about before we sign off here?
Let me look through my list.
While you're looking at your list, I will go ahead and say that I am in agreement with the consensus of the group, which seems to be the only thing that you put on Hamburger Helper is sour cream.
Why the hell would you put sour cream on Hamburger Helper?
Yeah.
It's not are you going to put it in a potato?
No.
That actually sounds lovely now. I think, God, I want a potato so bad I can stand it.
And cream cheese and beef stroganoff is phenomenal. I've done that as well. But yeah, no, we're all out on the ketchup. We're all a little more mature than 6 years old with our palate.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not, so piss off. Just a couple guys that physically I should mention. Carson Wells from Colorado. He's really, really raw. But I've seen enough of him that I think that he does have a draftable grade. Another one comes off a defense that I loved watching, and this dude was made in a laboratory somewhere because I don't know what to do with him. His name is Alex Wright. He, to me, does not project as a stand-up linebacker of any kind. I think he's 6'8". They list him as 6'7", and I'm not sure they didn't cut an inch off just to make it not so weird.
Okay.
He is a big damn dude, and he is a really good pass rusher. He's not going to run really fast. Shocker, a 6'7" dude's not going to be crazy fast. Could have some physical limitations in the NFL, but he's, to me, somebody that goes in that 4 to 5 range that could end up being an impact guy. He kind of reminds me of Teron Jackson, kid last year out of Coastal Carolina. Real long. The level of competition is not necessarily that impressive, but there's some tape where you're like, well, you just stole his soul right out of his body, didn't you? Like, that poor bastard's going to watch this tape and go, I would like to go home now.
Excellent. Das Wunderkind. Remember that.
Yeah, he's another, and you just assume this. We haven't talked about a lot of the edge guys yet. If I say somebody's 6'7", you just assume they play upright, because that's going to be a critique on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not really a way for you to not, because you're a giant. Other than that, I mean, names that you know, Mike Jones from LSU. Really disappointed you didn't say who right there.
Mike Jones?
Who? There you go. I did it backwards. And Terrell Bernard.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so small. I, honest to God, think he's like wide receiver size. So I don't know where he's going to play in the NFL.
Question in the comments, what about that JoJo guy from Nebraska? JoJo Doman, excuse me. Fifth rounder. There you go. Bang up analysis.
I mean, my mother once told me if I didn't have anything nice to say, to not say anything at all. I don't see an NFL player there.
Okay.
I mean, he's not the worst player I've ever seen. I'm trying to find where I even have him ranked. I have gone through a lot of pages here. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I must have missed him. Oh, there he is. I mean, I got him in the late 20s.
Okay.
He is. If the NFL was an athletic competition, that's all it was, then yeah, he would have a draftable grade for me. Because he's athletic.
Mm-hmm.
He's reasonably. I mean, he's not a huge guy. I just think he's going to fit in a very specific kind of defense, because he's just not. He's not a football player. He's an athlete. You know, he is a very well-tuned athlete that does not know how to play football. Can that kid be a special teamer? Sure. All right, I'll give you I don't usually put comps on a guy, but this one just says Nate Ebner. So I'm going to assume that what I was trying to say, that, and sometimes when guys that I haven't prepped and you ask me about them, I go to the notes and go, give me something, because it's not clicking in my head right now.
Right.
Nate Ebner was a Olympic level athlete, but I never really saw him as a football player.
Okay.
The thing about JoJo Doman is that he could go into like a New England and Belichick find a way for him to just be a special teams ace. Or you give him to John Harbaugh or one of these guys that really puts an emphasis on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I don't ever see this kid lining. I said the same thing about Tanner Muse a few years ago that the Raiders drafted in the third round.
Yeah.
Still funny to me. Just because you're super athletic doesn't make you a football player. It's the Justin Gatlin rule. Tank and I talk about this all the time. Justin Gatlin played receiver for the Houston Texans. It was a disaster.
Yes, it was.
And he kind of fits into that for me. I think he could cover, but I'm not sure that every time teams saw him on the field, they wouldn't just go, run attack guy.
Yeah. Tyler Cunningham says, what about Henry To'o? He's going back to Alabama.
Yeah.
He's back for his senior season, so he is not in this upcoming draft class. However, he's going to be pretty high in next year's draft class.
Yeah, don't be so sure of that.
Really?
Yeah, he got the reason he went back to Alabama, from what I'm told, is that he got a less than ideal draft grade from the committee.
Really?
Yeah, they said he'd be a third-day pick.
Wow, that shocks me. I've seen a lot of good out of him.
I mean, I don't hate him.
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand why he came back.
Yeah.
I'm one of those, if I'm not definitively going to day 1 or day 2, I'm just going to go back. I mean, I can get drafted in the 7th round next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm good. I'll go be big man on campus and win a national title.
Right.
But this is not a great linebacker class, but there's a lot of, I think, role players.
Although, Tyler, I am going to need to know what is black whip cream. He says he suggested black whipped cream on marshmallows for dessert. And like the marshmallows, just not sure what black whipped cream is. Is that a licorice thing, or? Because if it is, I'm all the way in. I'm one of those weird people that likes licorice.
I don't like licorice.
Yeah, that's fine.
Somebody asked about Nolan Smith in the comments. He's come back to Georgia.
Yep.
That's one of the hardest parts of this, is now that just because you're a senior, it doesn't mean you're in the draft. That's a bitch.
Yep.
So if there's ever one of those where maybe I read it wrong or whatever the case may be, feel free to chuck them out there. I would rather confirm those than let somebody slip through.
Of the 4 Georgia linebackers that were in this class, if you added Nolan Smith, where would he fall amongst them? Because I think I would have him at 2.
Are you taking away Adam Anderson's off the fields?
I can't take that away.
Then, yeah, I'd agree with 2.
Yeah.
If you take away Adam Anderson's off the field, Stephanie's 3.
Yeah.
Because Adam Anderson's won by a lot.
Yep.
Like a lot.
Yep. He could be a hell of a steal in the draft.
Rob Johnson asked in the comments, is Will Anderson the top linebacker next year? Will Anderson is the top player next year. He's number 1 with a bullet on my 2023 list. He might be the best pass rusher I've ever seen. He reminds me of Derek Thomas.
He is so crazy. He is so crazy good. And I hate the fact that he is at Alabama.
Somebody said they had Elijah Moore at 76. What drunk individual had Elijah Moore at 76? Whoever it is, you should not read their stuff anymore.
Oh, is that where PFF had him last year?
Maybe.
I know they were talking about PFF at one point, so I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm not. Alex Majabi asked if Majai Sanders had been discussed. He's an edge guy. I don't see him as a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he needs to have his hand in the dirt. He'll be in the edge show,
yep.
which will be the last one we do. Because
there's so many.
Edge might be a top 39, and we might need 6 hours to do it. Like, I'm just going to give you a point of reference. All right, since he asked me about Majai Sanders, where do I have him among my edge guys? Sanders is not on that page. Go back. Go back! Damn you. Doop. Sanders is my number 16 edge guy.
16.
And I like him.
Yeah. I mean, but there's just so many. There's just so many in this class, from, Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau at the top to Ajabo and, the kid from Florida State went to Georgia, Jermaine Johnson. There's a bunch of dudes. Drake Jackson from USC.
One of the guys on my on the Chase Claypool list is not in the top 15 of edge rushers. I liked him enough in a class that's the deepest position in this class.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make it in the top 15. And I love him.
All right. So
that's going to be an aggressive show.
An aggressive show for the edge rushers, which will be the final draft class, position class that we do. In our coverage here, we are doing one of these a week. Do you want to give a promo for the next one that you're going to do? We're going to go back to the offensive side of the ball.
Well, we've done quarterbacks, we've done receivers, we've done corners, and we've done linebackers. So I'm waiting for somebody to say something in the comments.
Tight ends.
You know how I feel about tight ends. So. I'm a tight end kind of guy.
You are a tight end kind of guy. Offensive
Double
line.
entendre meant right there. Offensive line, you're going to break into 3 positions.
You're going to go interior tackles.
You'd have to go tackle. God, how do I?
You just do 2 of those, right?
Well, you can do tackle and interior lineman, I guess.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 centers that I have a first 4 round grade on.
Mm-hmm.
You got Linderbaum, Patterson out of Notre Dame, John Schmitz out of Minnesota. There's another one. Who am I forgetting?
Mm-hmm.
There's a 4th one. I mean, but that's all there is for centers. So
I don't know your list, so I'm not.
It's bugging me that I can't think of what the hell is that kid's name?
Not real sure.
I had to look it up. I was really trying not to look it up.
Zion Johnson?
No, he's a guard.
Mm.
Where are you? Alec
Lindstrom.
Alec Lindstrom. Yeah.
Alec Lindstrom from Boston College.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe I forgot a Boston College kid. God, I really am sleeping. I need a nap.
All right, that's going to do it for us on this happy hour, this Top 13 Tuesday. Hope everybody enjoys their dinner with your deer meatloafs and your Philly cheese steaks and your shrimp cocktails and bourbon clay. Live it up down there at the beach.
I will eat my broccoli and tomatoes and think fondly of you all.
Indeed. And we'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock on ESPN Asheville, and of course right here in the Sportsocracy on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the like button, share it out with your friends as well. We will see you tomorrow afternoon. What's the third hour on Wednesdays? Didn't we have an alliteration for Wednesdays?
What was Wednesdays?
Nope, not coming to me.
We had one.
I thought we did.
I had one for every day.
I thought we did, but
it's Wet Spot Wednesday. Sorry.
Okay, time to say goodbye. Enjoy all the basketballing tonight, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 3 in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene, and we will see you next time.